Mr. Jones, something like that.
Right.
Something so obvious, be like it's a fake name.
People tuning into the videos like, what on earth are they talking about?
Yeah. Starting to go live now.
Bloop, bloop, and
Bloop.
There it goes. Facebook tips, please quit coming up. If I was going to do something, I'd have done it the last 20 times you came up. Hey.
Chihuahua.
All right.
All right.
Make sure the media board's on so that Deedlet can talk to us. You there, Deedlet? Good. Hi, guys.
Hello.
We are reviewing The Muppets Take Manhattan tonight. I don't even remember what we're reviewing next week now that I think about it. Not that we need to know right this minute.
Oh.
Oh, this is Drew.
This is Jacob.
How are y'all? We'll get started as soon as we decide to.
There it goes. And we're live.
That
Share
was
and
the
share.
wrong thing to look at. Okay, there we go. Oh, a movie I know nothing about is what's next week.
It's interesting. Let's say that.
This is the one we saw like at the beginning of 2020 at that Super Bowl party right before everything shut down. I remember thinking, wow, that looks cheap.
Maybe.
This looks cheaply animated.
It does look cheaply animated.
Oh, I need to take these movies off the list, don't I? For
Mhm.
September, because we're changing that.
Yes.
Which I need to find one more bad movie for that.
Mm.
Okay, I'll do that later.
I found some recommendations.
I know you asked for recommendations.
I did. I had to
And
edit that post the first time.
One of the ideas I had, which I put on that, was I realized we couldn't do for the simple reason that it's only 10 minutes long.
Oh, yeah. That would be a short that we would probably
Wait, I need to find something longer, which means I need to find Titanic.
Oh gosh.
One of the three.
Oh heck, we
The one with the rapping dog with any luck.
Oh gosh, that would be hilarious.
It's party time. It's party time. The boat is sinking and it's party time.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
not when that comes up, but that's just across my mind. It's like, this is a weird song to put here no matter what you do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I would probably be ripping this movie a new one for like every because
that's the goal for all of those movies. It's like, oh, look at this pile of garbage. Whatever movies we're doing there. I know one of them because it's over there.
Oh yeah.
That I got for $2.
Why not?
Cost $4 billion to make, and no one knows where the money went.
4 billion.
Yes.
There's no way on earth this movie, like the movie in question, cost $4 billion to make.
Hang on.
Yeah, just prove it to me.
I want to make. I admittedly, it might have been 4 million, and they still lost most of the money. They
Right.
lost most of the money, no matter how much it took to make.
Right. Food fight. Movie.
I didn't think it was going to do that. Go that crazy. Okay, here we go.
Production.
Sorry, 25 million joint investment into the project was made by so and so and so and so, with the producers expecting blah 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 blah. Estimated remainder was 50 million, so 75 million. The film was created and produced with Digital Effects Shop at this place. Here we go. In December 2002, Kasanoff reported that hard drives containing most unfinished assets from the film had been stolen in what he called an act of industrial espionage, an incredibly complex crime. An investigation which included the United States Secret Service was unable to find the thief. The film was supposed to be computer animated with an exaggerated use of squash and stretch to resemble Looney Tunes shorts, but after production resumed in 2004, casting off used motion capture, with the result that he and the animators were speaking two different languages. So yeah, it was auctioned off for $2.5 million just to get money back. It's bad.
It sounds like it. I've heard bad kind of things about this movie.
Which is why I put it on the list.
Exactly. So yeah, we are watching the Muppets Take Manhattan.
Not Food Fight.
No, we're not doing
Muppets Take
Food Fight yet.
Manhattan had none of this problem.
Yeah,
None of these
just-
problems.
Yeah, just wait until September, and then we'll get into that. But yeah, today we're reviewing the Muppets Take Manhattan.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, you can't watch it on Disney Plus because Disney doesn't own the rights to this movie.
Yes. Which is interesting why they don't own the rights to this movie.
True, but you can watch it on Tubi.
If you feel you must. No, I'm kidding. This is actually a very good movie, in my opinion.
Why it's going back?
It is a $45 to $65 million film with visuals that look worse than computer-generated animations from the 80s and 90s, with creepy character designs and absolutely terrible and atrociously bad animation. Not helping matters is the use of motion capture and Looney Tunes squash and stretched off animation simultaneously, despite the two not blending well together.
Whoa, that sounds terrible.
I have not watched the whole movie.
Right,
I've only seen reviews,
right.
which is why I put it on the list.
Wow.
Mike Adams says it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to get things started on the Cellcast tonight. Indeed, we're going to get started here in just a minute.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
YouTube and Twitch are silent at the moment, but that's all good.
Yeah.
We are here for the fun mostly. I need to get back over here before we get started. Where is the Facebook? Where is the Facebook?
I don't know where the Facebook is.
There's the Facebook, so I can read off the answers and the questions. I did have to rejigger the question from how I asked it on the last episode to make more sense and to fit where I could put the background on it.
Ah,
But it's essentially the same question.
okay. Alrighty then.
Yes, rejigger is a word.
Yes, rejigger is a word. I've heard it numerous times throughout my life.
I don't know if it's a Texas word or if it goes farther than that.
Who knows?
But anyway, you ready to get started?
Yes.
All right. D-Lit, are you ready? Awesome. Go ahead and hit the intro for me.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who prefers the Rubber Wall Street Journal to the Rubber Washington Post. Welcome, Jacob.
Squeak, 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 squeak.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Squeak, squeak, squeak.
Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who had just learned he got it. He made it big, and they got hit by a forklift. Welcome, Drew.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Apparently, you've lost Drew.
No, I'm actually still here.
Okay, good. Because that would have been. What was Kermit's name? His other
Phil.
Phil. Yeah.
Because he hung out with Gil and Jill
Bill.
and Bill.
Bill.
The other
That's it,
one.
Bill. Right.
Other ills.
Ills.
Before we get too far into this episode, we need to ask the trivia question for this week, which is, what Saturday morning cartoon was inspired by a scene from The Muppets Take Manhattan? Bear in mind, this didn't just inspire this one show, it inspired an entire genre of bad Saturday morning cartoons. Jacob, I know you know the answer to
Oh
this
my
one.
gosh, the Muppet Babies.
Because it was how you were introduced to the Muppets,
Yes, I was, and I'm scarred for life.
which is why it took this show for you to finally get around to seeing real Muppet stuff.
Yes. So my
Uh,
answer is the Muppet Babies.
Yes, Muppet Babies is the right answer. We had the ones people who got it right in the Facebook was Heather Morgan, David Gardner, and of course my mother.
Awesome.
And Paul J. Powers posted a GIF that said what they said.
So just saying, like watching this film for the first time and knowing this little bit of trivia about the film, it comes up. I'm like, oh my gosh, it really is.
Yeah, it is
legit,
spot on. And bear in mind, Muppet Babies, you know when it came out? 2 months after this movie.
That makes sense.
Because
like
they
it was planned.
It's like they built the sets and then they sent pictures of those sets to Toei Animation, who did most of the animation for the show.
Uh-huh.
Was it TMS? I don't remember.
I think it was TMS.
One of the Japanese animation companies.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And then liberal use of stock footage from other shows got thrown in there too. But anyway.
Right. And I mean, like, Muppet Babies is not on Disney Plus.
It is on Disney Plus.
Oh, it is. Oh my
I think.
gosh.
But, okay, let me rephrase. I know the new Muppet Babies, which to my understanding is a horrible gutter stripe of a television show, mostly because it cut out a character that was created for the original Muppet Babies.
Really?
Yeah, Skeeter.
They took out Skeeter.
Scooter's sister is not in the new Muppet Baby show.
Huh.
Now, I'm saying all that's like, I didn't watch it because it's okay. So Muppet Babies, the original show,
right?
I think you could watch it pretty much whatever. If you were watching Saturday morning cartoons in
right.
general, be it from 3 to 10 or 3 to 12, you could probably watch Muppet Babies and still get a laugh out of it from time to time. I know you wouldn't, but
no.
I mean, in general, most people.
Yeah, general.
But the new Muppet Babies is a preschool show.
Yes.
And yeah, I like my intellect a little better than that.
Amen to
that. Yeah, I am looking through here right quick because I was curious. And yeah, the old Muppet Babies is not on here.
Okay.
Shame.
Yeah, maybe it's like fair use. It'd be like maybe there's like tied up in legal issues or something.
Probably the same copyright issues that this movie's tied up in.
Probably.
If we're being honest.
Very true.
We will get to that later, though.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yes. How are you doing, Jacob?
Man, I'm doing very good. Saturday was hot. Let's say that.
No kidding.
So
it's Texas.
Yes, it is
in
Texas.
June, which means it's preheating.
Yes, it is preheating.
It got to what, 90s?
Yeah, 98.
Yeah, 98. And you were standing along with some of our friends, not me because I was busy doing other things.
Mm-hmm.
Standing in the middle of the street with a bunch of other people at Tomato Fest,
which is a yearly festival in the town we live in currently.
Yes, which meant good night. Y'all had to be burning up out there.
Yeah, every once in a while the power would cut out, so the fans weren't working.
Great.
Yeah, so like me and Ashley, my girlfriend, we walked around a few times. We got matching fake tattoos. Mine is currently fading.
That apparently matches a rat in this movie.
It does match a rat. Mine is mine is not here. It's there.
Yes. More on that in a minute.
More than on a minute.
I'm actually impressed that they put a tattoo on a puppet.
That was clever. The shirt I'm wearing is from Tomato Fest. It's promoting a local coffee shop coffee shop in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in Jacksonville and you love coffee, go by Neighbors Coffee. They're amazing. Other than that, currently my girlfriend Ashley and her mother Miss Colleen are currently in Dallas. They are going to Wyoming to go visit family.
Boy, you're just telling everybody where they are today.
Well, I said in Dallas. I didn't give them an exact. I didn't tell them what town or street they're on.
You said Dallas. Dallas is a town.
Dallas is a town.
You didn't say what community of Dallas they were in, but whatever.
Exactly. Nuance.
I'm just giving you a hard time. It's like, well, my girlfriend and her mother, whose name is Colleen. It's like, what if Colleen did want her name on the internet?
We will find out.
You'll find out next time. When I get it, or I'll get an angry text that says, Drew, go on to when you go to edit the episode, edit Colleen's name out of the show. She doesn't want it out there. Delete the live feed.
Delete all evidence. It was never heard of.
Pull the lever.
Run lever!
Why do we even have that lever? You programmed the lever, D-Lit?
Really?
Why? And how did you dig this pit that's underneath my computer right now?
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, it's not actually. Oh, yeah, it is solid.
Huh.
This a hologram? That's interesting. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, continue.
The week's going pretty good. I'm actually training for another position where I work this Thursday and Friday. That's gonna be interesting. Stuck in a box for 7 hours. That's gonna be interesting, but it gives me time to draw, which is always fun.
I'd say something, but I'm stuck in a cave for 8 hours. So
Well, I'm pretty sure my cave is much smaller than my box is smaller than your cave.
Yeah, that's why I called mine a cave and you called yours a box.
What's in the box? You don't want to know.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Moving on.
But it's going pretty good. I'm going to, Lord willing, I'm going to go watch Jurassic World Dominion this Thursday because we're not having Bible study for reasons.
Yeah. Y'all don't need to know those reasons.
No, you don't even know.
I don't even know the actual reason.
Right.
I just know.
I know the reason. I know the complete reason
I think
why.
I know the reason, but I don't think I paid attention enough to remember the reason.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't need to know the reason.
I was invited to go to the reason.
I don't know what went through my mind, but we're not going to go there.
We're not going
Moving
there.
on. Continue.
It's not that, but
You already have a girlfriend. You don't need more.
oh, jeez. Moving along. My week is going pretty well. I'm hoping to get my own Patreon started up where I can, promote my own art to encourage myself to do more artwork and get people to I'm pretty sure there are people who would chime in or whatever, but it's just more to try to encourage me to do more art and to be more productive in my art.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already had people and it's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. It's just, if you're interested, be like, let me know when I can, get started on it, either or. So yeah, that has been my week. What this week has been already. How was yours?
It was good. Mine was a lot more
Cool.
Yes, cool is the word because I didn't get out in the heats. I mostly hung out around the apartment and did some other things that were necessary for podcasting that day.
Hint the engineer.
Hint the editing of the podcast.
Uh-huh.
That went out Saturday and I still didn't get it up till Sunday because
Eh.
I decided to stream.
It happens.
But anyway, I did go see Jurassic World Dominion.
What did you think of it?
I'll get into that when I actually get to what I've been watching.
Okay.
We're not to that part yet.
No, we're not.
But yeah, I went into Tyler for that. And really not much else other than I'm prepping for a project that I'm thinking of doing.
Okay.
Ironically, it's connected to the show because literally the second thing we recorded for the show,
The lost episode
that is now lost media,
Mm-hmm.
was related to this. And
Yeah.
it's me attempting to untangle the plot lines of Kingdom Hearts for people who are trying to figure it out as they're going through the series.
Bing.
I have not decided if it's going to be a part of the normal Cellcast feed
Mm-hmm.
or if I'm actually going to get a separate feed for it. Might be a little bit more money for the separate feed, but I think I'll be all right. But yeah, I am working on that. I've got pretty much an idea of what I'm doing. So keep an eye out for that. I'll let y'all know when I actually put that live.
Okay. Look forward to it.
But it's essentially the way I'm designing it is it's designed. I'm designing it where as you play the game and you complete a section of the game, you could pause, maybe you stopped for the day and you going off somewhere else, to go
Mhm.
run errands or do something else. You want to put on a podcast, and you put on this, and I tell you stuff about that section of the game you played, about what happened, what things you should be looking out for there, who acted in those scenes. Is it the original actor from the movie who reprised their role? Is it not? Things of that nature.
Yeah.
It's kind of more like I'm calling it a companion podcast
Okay.
because it's meant to be like a guidebook while you're going through the series.
I gotcha.
So yeah, I'm still working on that. I'm looking at maybe releasing those in July,
Okay.
because I do still kind of want to aim to have it out before Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out.
Whenever
we
it
still
comes
don't
out.
know when that is, but we did have some news drop today. Nothing real serious.
Okay.
Mostly there was an interview and it was like stuff, but no real information.
Okay.
But yeah, this is technically what remains of E3 week, since
Gotcha.
E3 has not existed since 2020.
Huh.
Thanks, COVID.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Alrighty.
so Jacob, I have a question for you.
What have you been watching?
All right. What have I been watching? Thanks, Deedlit. So give me a friendly reminder of what we watched Sunday afternoon.
Is it wrong to pick up girls?
That
in the
is
dungeon?
right. That's an interesting show. It's a very interesting show because it's one of those long titles, and it's like because we watch so much over there,
Yeah,
like Sunday afternoons, and it was like, which one did we watch again? It's like, oh yeah, that
the one that makes you mad because they mispronounce all the names of mythological gods.
that is true. That is true.
Even though they're not mispronouncing the names because they literally changed the names.
Yeah.
It's just supposed to make you think of those people. But anyway,
Right. It's interesting. It's an interesting show.
gets annoyed that they call one character Hephaestus.
Yeah, Hephaestus.
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 Just because Loki is easy to say no matter what language it is.
Either or, be like it's good. I don't think I've really watched a whole lot because it's been a very busy week. I think I threw on Ultimate Spider-Man off Disney Plus. Threw that in or watched that on Disney Plus. Like I threw in the VHS tape.
you put it on the TV, and then you got your art supplies out and drew while you watch television, which means you drew while you listen to television.
We got one of those.
I'm saying this knowing this is kind of what happens to me when I do stuff while I've got something playing on television.
Yeah,
but I still count it.
Yeah, that is true. So while I was doing the news, while I was getting prepped for the this podcast, I threw in. I keep throwing in. I put on Tangled the series or Rapunzel Tangled Adventure ever since we're doing the series
Yes.
at the end of these episodes, and I watched the 2 episodes we are reviewing tonight, which are very good, and I continued watching because I had a little more time.
And you decided to go ahead and watch next week's
Episodes, yes.
Two-parter episode.
Two-parter. Oh
It
my
originally
gosh!
aired as one episode.
So that is true.
So it depends on where you go on the internet, whether it's one episode or 2 episodes.
Yeah. Either or. Be like this
Disney
is
Plus calls it 2 episodes.
yes. So yeah, I am super excited for us to review that because this was the inspiration to do Tangled the series or Rapunzel Tangled Adventure on TAS.
Yes.
And
Literally, I think the 3rd or 4th night of recording the show, 3rd or 4th episode,
Yeah.
you showed me a clip from this episode, and I
Mhm.
went, this is a Disney princess show.
Aw.
This is going places I wasn't expecting.
Oh yeah.
And now that I'm watching, okay, yeah, I follow.
Yeah.
It is still a Disney princess show, but it's a fun show.
Yeah, there's I'm not gonna give anything away because be like obviously you haven't seen it, right?
The next episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. When we recorded these episodes originally for the separate part, I've seen it. I saw it.
Oh, okay.
We got we've got, I think it's only 4 more episodes until we get to the stuff I've not watched.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's right. But either or, be like, I can't wait to review this for you guys. It's going to be fun. It's probably there again. It is the inspiration for doing TAS in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. So yeah, looking forward to that. And
The one where Rapunzel loses her memory is it's either that one or like the one right after it.
oh
It's the
yeah,
last
yeah,
one I watched.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, because we got
we were
origi-
almost done with season 2, and I was backed up a month's worth of shows and couldn't get time in my schedule
right.
and still be a sane human being to
Right.
get them edited.
So
And it didn't get done for 3 years.
it sounds like season 1.
Yes.
So instead of going back and doing editing, which would take a lot more time, we're just going to review them at the end of
That's
the
what we're
episode.
doing. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing. So
Which is
it's honestly easier just to do it the way we're doing it right now
yes,
than even the way we were doing it before, because scheduling,
yes,
because
Agreed.
we have busier schedules than we realize
true.
when we were initially making these plans. Because when
Mhm.
we were initially making these plans, it was March of 2020.
Yeah,
We had plenty of time in March 2020. Come 2021, different story.
But
Anyway.
yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I watched that while I was doing notes, and yeah, oh my gosh, this episode amazing. Second episode, oh my gosh, so good. And it's just the series gets better and better. So if you're not watching Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure or Tangled the series on Disney Plus, go watch
Or
it.
whatever you want to call it this week.
Yeah, whatever you're gonna watch called, yeah, just go watch it. It's good.
The Tangled Show.
Yeah, the Tangled Show.
No. The Shorty Show.
The Shorty Show. If you don't know, you don't know. Let's say that.
Moving on.
Oh, yeah. So that is all I've been watching far as just a lot of YouTube and trying to get more into more personal Bible studies, and it's like that is more trying to find a good Bible study that isn't a lecture and then it gives you one verse.
Yeah.
That is irritating.
I know what you mean, but the
Mhm.
first thought that went through my head was that thing Chase told us about, of that preacher who spent 20-30 years going through one book of the Bible.
Oh yeah.
And some of these, like he had to been averaging 3 words a sermon from the Bible.
Oh yeah. I've been in one of those for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
At our church.
I knew what you missed. Like
Yes.
you want something deep that will actually go into what's going on, instead of
Yeah.
it being random verse number 560 that happens to support what the message the person's trying to get out.
Exactly.
I knew what you meant,
Mhm.
but I was like, some people would fight you over this.
It's like, oh yeah, I read one verse, be like, oh yeah, that's all I need is one little verse. I think you need a little more. It's called context, people, but either or. So yeah, that's all I've been watching. What have you been watching, Drew? This is gonna be interesting.
Okay, so do you know about Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Yes.
Okay. What I watched was not Mystery Science Theater 3000, but
Okay.
the semi spin-off thing that came out afterwards called Riff Tracks.
Okay.
I watched 2 movies that they had riffed on.
Okay.
One was called A Talking Cat.
A talking.
You have to say it that way. A talking cat. It's like, it's as amazing. It's a talking cat.
Okay.
Cats don't talk. But anyway, no, it's a really cheap movie,
Okay.
poorly edited, and the story makes no sense. But the crazy thing is, the cat does talk, but he can only talk to one person once, and then he can't ever talk to him again.
Interesting.
So when they show the cat talking, you remember stuff like Cats versus Dogs,
Yes.
that movie, or perhaps The Underdog,
Yeah.
how they have this nice, good 3D animation to make the
Mhm.
dogs and the cats, mouths move like they're actually producing human speech.
Right.
That's not what happens here.
Oh no.
This was Photoshop. And they didn't edit in anything underneath the gap where they tried to put it. So that make it look literally, it's like they moved the cat's mouth up and down with the black void of nothingness behind it. It's like,
Whoa!
what is going on? And it would not stop. The movie kept going.
Oh,
And it was dumb and it was stupid, and I enjoyed myself because listening to them make fun of it. I will never look at what was it they had this, not spinach puffs, because that's Emperor's New Groove. Anyway, it is a weird movie, but that's not the only Riff Tracks movie I watched this week.
Okay.
I also watched something called To Catch a Yeti.
Okay. What is this?
No, it is not a it is not the Bigfoot version of To Catch a Predator.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Oh, bro.
It is literally this guy accidentally takes this small kind of a creature home that happens to have big feet after he got done hiking in the Himalayas.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh crap.
And he brings it home and never realizes how do you get this kind of a creature? Because I say he's a small creature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying he's not Bigfoot.
Okay.
He's not a Sasquatch. He's literally like the size of a beach ball.
Wow. Okay.
How he got him home in that bag and didn't realize that he had to have been the only thing in that bag, I will never know. Not to mention, they get it home. It's like, oh, he can't survive in this weather because it's too hot. I'm thinking, he survived in the bottom of that aircraft to get here in the first place. And it is the most ugliest, cheapest looking puppet / suit thing you've ever seen.
Wow.
It was a stupid movie,
Okay.
as it should be.
Wow.
And of course, it's that thing. It's like Harry and the Hendersons. Oh, we got to keep him because he's our friend and all. Oh, but now we got to get him back because the evil men are going to try and capture him if we don't get him back to his family.
Oh wow.
It's like, no flipping kidding. This is not a good tokusatsu show, is what I'm saying.
Oh wow.
This is bad. But yeah, I still enjoyed watching that.
Wow. You know what that reminds me of?
What?
It's not as silly or stupid, but it's the videos you see quite often because I love watching those like pet rescue things.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, he's coming off like a hunt or something like that, and he finds this little puppy dog that's lost, and he brings the dog home with him.
Yeah.
And it's a very unique little dog. And so he brings it home a couple months later.
Surprise! It's a raccoon.
Surprise! It's a coyote.
Oh,
It's a coyote.
it's a coyote. You could tell because of the catalog for Acme products he had with him.
Big anvil. Bong! And he just had this sensational thirst to hunt down roadrunners.
Yes. Which
Have you seen that before? That is awesome.
Which ironically, you know who's faster? Coyotes or roadrunners?
Coyotes.
Coyotes are actually faster.
I've actually seen that in real life.
I have been lied to my whole life.
I actually saw one be like in person.
Mhm.
Was like I saw a coyote and a roadrunner, and the roadrunner took off. The coyote grabbed it. I was like, "What the? That's not the way this works."
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
works.
Except that is how it works. Anyway,
Anyways,
we
Yeah.
are feisty tonight.
yes, we are. This is gonna be a fun episode. So was that everything you watched?
No, I also watched some episodes of Spy Family because it's my current favorite anime.
Mm.
And I am going to go on the record right here and right now that episode 10 of Spy Family is the greatest tournament arc in all of anime. And it's dodgeball. And it doesn't end. It ends about the way you expect it would end for this show.
Oh wow.
But there is, I don't want to give too much away, but they do the whole like training type of thing, except it's kids.
Yeah.
And they throw in allusions to different things. Like at one point, the kid is imagining himself, training to catch this ball.
Mm-hmm.
And his imagination springs up, and after a couple seconds, you realize, holy crap, kids on Namek! This is Dragon Ball Z. It's like, how do you do that? I know it's Shueisha, so you can get away with crap like that, but this is not Toei Animation that's doing this. How did you get away with that? And of course, they got away with it because it was all it really looked like was blue sky, green sky, blue grass.
Okay.
Like Namek always is. It's like, that could be anywhere. We didn't see any Namekians. I don't know what you're talking about. And the energy ball was not blue, it was purple. And then they did an allusion to Naruto by having these kids pretend to do a shadow technique, a double team technique. It's like, how are you getting away with this? Next thing you're going to tell me, you're going to put them on a pirate ship to go find the One Piece.
Or the second piece.
Yeah, the second piece. No, that wouldn't have made sense with what they were doing, but it was a funny episode, and it was one I giggled and laughed at the whole stinking time. And it ends about the way it would have to, but there's a point there where you get into the actual tournament, and the kid who is the kid to beat, they show him, and he towers over all the other kids. He looks like a 20-year-old amongst these 6-year-olds, and it has the gall to pop up the text underneath it to say his name is like age 6. Thinking bull hockey, yeah, kid's age 6, but they continue because they do a little thing where they show that kid training, and at one point his father comes up, and the kid who looks to be 20 only comes up to this guy's waist. It's like, how? This guy has the proportions of an adult, and he's only that size? This guy looks like a midget, except he's not a midget. He's a 6-year-old. Anyway.
Early puberty?
It was no, because he's still got a high-pitched voice. No, I'm sorry. No, he doesn't. He has a low-pitched voice. I swear, if Crunchyroll, which is what essentially has all of Funimation in it at this point, because it's essentially all Crunchyroll now.
Yeah.
If they don't have Chris Sabat voicing this guy in the dub, and he's not doing the Vegeta voice, or better yet, Piccolo, I will not be a happy camper, because that is too freaking easy. I want Piccolo voicing this kid.
So get on it.
Get on it, Crunchyroll. Chris Sabat, Piccolo voicing this kid age 6. I can't remember the kid's name, but it was like Billy Masterson or something like that.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I watched that, and of course this movie, and but I also watched Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah. What was your thought on that?
So I'm going to admit to you that when I go into a Jurassic Park franchise movie, which encompasses all 6 movies, I'm going in assuming I'm getting something like Jurassic Park. I'm expecting hard sci-fi that's based on procedures and such, and is interesting, cool sci-fi thing. I'm not going in expecting a kaiju movie, and there is a difference,
right?
Because kaiju movies, while they are also sci-fi in most cases, they're also Buck Rogers sci-fi, not hard science fiction.
Right.
Like the original Jurassic Park actually was, if you read the book.
Yeah.
I've read the original Jurassic Park.
I have too.
It is very hard science fiction. It has, but in the movie even follows that. Even the second movie, I've not read the second book, is still a kind of a hard science fiction show. I don't remember the third movie, and Jurassic World is like that. But somewhere in Fallen Kingdom, they decided these are not hard science fiction movies anymore. They're kaiju movies, and unfortunately, Fallen Kingdom is not a good kaiju movie. But somehow, I have no idea how Colin Trevorrow did this. The guy who backed out of Episode 9 of Star Wars and really should have kept writing it, in my opinion. I have no idea how he pulled this off, but he actually made something I would say is on par with Godzilla versus Kong.
Interesting.
That's about where I put it.
Okay.
It's a popcorn munching movie.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. It's the kind of movie, it's like, okay, now you have to have all these characters meet for no good reason other than sheer coincidence. 3, 2, 1. There we go. It's like that kind of time. It's like, okay, you have these 3 parties of characters running all around the island. When are they going to meet up? 3, 2, 1. Ah, there we go. And now we all have to clamor together so we can make it back to the main thing so we can get off on the helicopter. No, this isn't taking place on an island. This is taking place in the Himalayas. Why is everything in the Himalayas this week?
I don't know.
Moving on.
Yeah.
It was a fun movie. As much as I'm making fun of it and joking, it was one of those things where it's like about 5 minutes into it, I realized this is not meant to be a thinking movie, for lack of a better term. It's not meant to be something that's like positing like what would it's trying to. It's trying to have this kind of environmental message about how we should all coexist because we're all stuck in this world together.
Right.
Is kind of what it's trying to get out.
Right.
At the same time, I'm sitting there going, go T-Rex, you're going to beat this guy. There's no way you can lose because you're the superhero of this franchise. Doesn't matter that this Carnivorosaurus Rex or whatever his name was is the biggest, they say this twice, the biggest carnivore that's ever existed on planet Earth. I'm thinking, yeah, that's great for him. T-Rex is going to bite his neck off because that's how this works. Because it's T-Rex. He's been the hero since the first movie.
Don't you mean she? Because it's a she.
I don't know if this is the same T-Rex. I don't know if it's female. By this time, they can make males.
That is true.
It's only the first movie where they're all females.
Okay.
Now,
Well, never mind.
That being said, Blue has a child.
Yeah.
She's a female. And they did say, you can't have any children. You're only a girl. It's like, are you saying there's no male velociraptors? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying.
Either or. So kind of following that.
The point where there's a point in the movie. This is the last thing I'm going to say.
Okay.
They've captured. They finally caught Blue's kid that they went across half the world to find after Blue's kid had been kidnapped.
Right.
Because Chris Pratt made a promise
to a
raptor. And he's got Blue's kid knocked out and slung over his back, wearing him like a backpack. And Alan Grant says, "Is that a dinosaur?" And Chris Pratt goes, "Yeah." And you just let him stay there. It's like, yeah, I promised. You promised a dinosaur? Yes. It's like, yeah, how hard is this to follow? All the characters are like spot on.
Okay.
I think the only character I really didn't get into was the character that seems to change every movie, and that's the Japanese guy that is the scientist who was behind the cloning techniques in the first place, who keeps showing up in these movies.
Oh, Wong?
Wong, yeah. He's a different. He seems like he's different in every movie.
Okay.
In this one, he's kind of that. I made a mistake.
Yes,
and I want to fix it. It's like the mistake in this movie, though, is not the dinosaurs.
Oh gosh. I'll find out this Thursday.
There is a plague. I think the next ones are frogs and shadows.
Oh gosh.
There's a plague of locusts in this movie, dude.
Oh my gosh. So my first thought on Jurassic World Dominion,
which you haven't seen,
which I have not seen. My first initial thoughts was like, great. What kind of train wreck are we going to get into now? Because
it's the good kind of train wreck.
Okay.
It is a train wreck. Do not get me wrong. This is not the hard science fiction movie I've been wanting them to do for the past 6 movies.
Right.
This is like, no, this is Godzilla. When you get right down, this is Godzilla with dinosaurs.
Okay. And
we're going to have fun with it.
Okay.
There is some hard science fiction stuff, but you've got no, really, it is Godzilla because you got the scientific company that's going to fix all the problems, but they're secretly evil.
Of course.
That's not a spoiler.
No, that's not.
No, because you know it the minute they show up. It's like, oh, you're the bad guys. You're going to be the bad guys. I don't care what news tripe you're giving me of all the good they're doing. You're the bad guys. And then 3 seconds later, they're using biosynth products or whatever the name of the company is. Goes, And she goes, I bet they are. It's like, yeah, because they're the bad guys.
What I've heard about this film, like reviews,
I have gone off on it a little bit.
Reviews in the whole bit have been relatively positive. There has been kind of like a mixed bag, definitely when it comes to reviews. Like reviewers, like people who do this stuff for a living, like praise the movie. It's really well done. And then the audience is kind of a dumpster fire.
Because the audience doesn't know what to do with movies that were just made to be fun and stupid. And that's all this is a fun, stupid movie.
Okay.
It's not meant to be even MCU level of action comedy. It's meant we're just going to have fun and be stupid about it.
Okay.
And have a good story that you can have fun with.
Okay. I did read an
Unless it's something like The Expendables, where it's like, look at the big name of actors who've been in all these action movies for years and who can't act their way out of a paper bag, and we're going to put them all in the same movie together. I get the feeling this is kind of like with the Fast and Furious franchise in its later years, if I ever got to them, it'd be about that level.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's get into news.
Yeah.
We've
Hang on. Deal it.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, D-Lit. So Drew did mention two things that are in the news right now: Crunchyroll and Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Okay. So apparently the other day, Crunchyroll. Today actually. So Crunchyroll, Toei Animation unveiled additional details of the global theatrical release of Dragon Ball Superhero, which is an odd name.
It is a very stupid name.
Agreed. The news film of the worldwide animation blockbuster franchise included a new trailer, the English voice cast. The film will be available.
The English voice cast is 90% who you think it is.
Yes, exactly.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah, if you've ever watched anything Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Super, or Dragon Ball GT, it's the same cast.
Surprise! Gohan is being Piccolo and Vegeta are being voiced by Chris Sabat. Who would have seen it coming? Sean Schemmel is Goku, as he's been for the past 20 years.
Hey, you get paid to do it? Why not?
Yes, it's his first acting role, and it's the acting role he's still doing.
All right, the film will be available both in an English dub and subtitled in its sub, and will arrive in more than 2,300 theaters in the United States and Canada on August 19th, with tickets going on sale starting July 22nd.
And you won't know if it's in your area till then.
Pretty much.
Which
the film
means we won't know until like the week before.
Probably.
Anyway,
the film also will be released in select US-based IMAX theaters. All right, so
I bet not ours.
Probably not. All right, summary. The Red Ribbon Army. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Red Ribbon
Yum.
The Red Ribbon Army,
yes, was
behind all the androids.
Yes, was once destroyed by Son Goku or Goku
twice
apparently. Individually,
he destroyed the bulk of the Red Ribbon Army in Dragon Ball, and then he destroyed all the androids created that were part of the Red Ribbon Army in Dragon Ball Z, except for the one that married
which
Krillin
is still weird.
And her brother.
What?
Her brother.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yes, her brother is still alive.
Yeah, I knew
the
that.
other android that was from
That's right. Android
17,
18? 18.
17.
Yeah, either or.
I don't remember which is which.
Right.
I just know it's not 19 or 20 because 20 was Dr. Gero and 19 was a clown.
All right, so carrying on.
It was her brother who won the last tournament. But anyway.
Drew is not a Dragon Ball fan at all.
I still haven't finished Super. I just know what's going to happen.
All right, so individuals who carry on the spirit of the Red Ribbon Army have created the ultimate android, a Gamma 1 and a Gamma 2, These two androids call themselves the superheroes. They start attacking Goku and Gohan. Surprise, surprise. What is the new Red Ribbon Army's objective in the face of
To take over the world.
Of course.
Of course.
And its time to arrive is superhero. Let's see. In other news, one of the upcoming anime features is making a splash this Tuesday, directed by Peggy Holmes, Luck, which premieres worldwide on Apple TV Plus on April 5th. The team behind the movie will screen some of the footage and talk about the making of the film. This is made by Sundance Animation's first animated feature. This is the same studio behind this, J.J. Abrams, I believe. All right, so and going, let's see. And speaking of, apparently at this Annery Festival, I might pronounce it wrong, audience members today were treated with the first look at The Spot, a new villain for the Sony Pictures animated 2-part sequel, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, set to be voiced by Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson featured Jason, I'm gonna butcher this man's name.
Schwartzman.
Yeah, Schwartzman. Thank you. By Jason Schwartzman, described as Miles. I want to say Miles Morales. I want to say Miles Brower. Miles Morales.
No, that's a different person. That's a fox.
That's a fox with two-tailed fox. Most formidable foe yet. The character has superpowered spots on his body that he can send him into any dimension he chooses.
He is a deep cut for a villain.
Yes. And I think I watched an episode from Spider-Man the Animated Series, which he's in. I was like, oh, that's who this guy is. It just dawned on me. It's like, oh, that's who this cat is.
Right.
All right. So yeah, and it goes on to who is Oscar Isaac's going to be Spider-Man 2099.
2099, yeah.
2099, that's what I meant to say.
He was 2099 in the last movie too. There in that after credit scene.
That's right. Isaiah Ray is going to be Jessica Drew, our Spider-Woman. And yeah, this is to me it's because Spider-Man crap. What's the first film called? I'm sorry.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse was a phenomenal film. We've already reviewed it. Go check it out.
We'll review this one when it comes out, probably.
Yes, we will. So that is all we have for info and stuff. Unless you have something else.
Not that I know of, which means we need to get into the spoiler-free section of our reviews.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
So, Muppets Take Manhattan. I don't know how many times I've seen this movie, because this is one I watched a lot as a kid, along with the other two big Muppet movies that came before this, being Muppet Movie and Great Muppet Caper, that I watched on bootleg VHS as my grandpa recorded off television.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this movie quite a number of times from beginning to end, and this is, I think, the most different of the original trilogy from the others, in my opinion. If you're asking if I think you should go find it and watch, definitely going to say yes.
Or watch it on Tubi.
Or watch it on Tubi, yes. It's a fun movie. It's got an interesting story. It definitely doesn't want to make me live in New York City. Because it's interesting. It's like, the Muppet movie kind of gave you a fairy tale version of America and Los Angeles. And the Great Muppet Caper gave you his fairy tale look at modern day London and England in general. So you get to the Muppets Take Manhattan and you get 1980s Manhattan before it got cleaned up.
Yeah. Like, even in this movie, they kind of cleaned it up.
It's like, what's that sound? Oh, that's just New York. I know it's actually Miss Piggy back there, but it looks like domestic abuse.
which we do not promote.
We do not promote, but it's like, on one hand, I bet you that is what they're thinking it is, but they're all turning a blind eye. Moving on. Don't do that. Don't turn blind eye.
Yeah. Call it when you see it.
But yeah, this is the last of the original Muppet trilogy of films. We wouldn't get another film till Muppet Christmas Carol in 1992, 93. I can't remember the exact year that came out. There is another Jim Henson film that comes out after this that was theatrical release, which is Labyrinth, the next quote unquote Muppet movie we're going to be going over.
Great movie.
But other than that, I mean, yeah, this is a fun movie. Now, I did mention that we have noted that this is not on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
because this was not one of the films that was available when Disney bought the Muppets. What happened was, the first two movies, actually the first three movies, if you're counting Dark Crystal along with that, were released by ITC.
Okay.
ITC went out of business like right after Dark Crystal came out.
Really?
If I remember correctly. So when they went to go get funding to make this movie, they shopped it around and it got bought by Columbia TriStar. When they went to go start releasing a lot of these movies on home video, most of the old ITC library, the Muppet movie, Dark Crystal, and Great Muppet Caper, went to Universal, of all places.
Right.
And they released it for a while. Well, at some point, the rights went back and forth. Dark Crystal, I think, is now at Sony, but I'd have to double check that.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember who actually owns the rights to that one now. But when it came time for Disney to... And of course, Disney produced Great Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah.
And then they went back to Sony for Muppets from Space.
Okay.
That's why Muppets from Space and this movie are still owned by are still released via Columbia TriStar, is because they produced the movie.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other stuff went to Disney because it went back to Jim Henson, and now all the Jim Henson Muppet stuff is owned by Disney.
Yes.
Much like the movie. So, the original show. But anyway, this movie though is still owned by Sony, and it's not moving out of that anytime soon.
Right.
Hopefully they've made a similar deal with like they're making with Sony over the Spider-Man films to get all the stuff in one place streaming wise.
Yeah.
Because they are working on that with Sony for Spider-Man.
Okay. Well, at least they're working on something.
Well, I think Netflix technically got like first rights, and then after it leaves Netflix, it goes to Disney Plus for the Spider-Man films.
Okay.
But this film, I have no idea.
Okay.
So yeah, this one and Muppets from Space are the only ones that are released by Columbia TriStar, and they don't do much to promote them. In fact, the Blu-ray copy that I have, it looks like the cheapest way they could have put this movie out.
Wow.
They didn't even really give it a good transfer, if
No.
we're being honest. In fact, I think it's actually worse than the Great Muppet Caper transfer Disney did. I mean, heck, the Blu-ray menu doesn't even put the name of the movie on the menu.
No, it doesn't.
Which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's still a good movie. It's a different way of telling the story. It's almost a darker Muppet movie than a lot of the ones we've had before that, and I enjoyed it. So yeah.
Okay. This is my first time watching it. There again, the only real experience I grew up watching Muppets was watching the Muppet Babies, which apparently was exactly hush. Hush.
When your world looks kind of weird and you wish that you weren't there, just
hush.
close your eyes and
Hush.
make believe
Hush.
you can be
Hush.
anywhere. I haven't seen the show in years, and I know the theme song still.
I try to forget it, but either or. I wasn't the biggest fan of that show, either or. But watching this movie, this was interesting. This was an interesting film. It was enjoyable to watch. It's definitely the Muppets from the earlier years, and it's the same old gags, the same old. It's that same old enjoyable thing that Jim Henson did throughout his career, and it's enjoyable. I understand why the Muppet Babies were created due to this film. other than that, I'd be like, it's a really, I feel like I'm repeating myself. It's an enjoyable film. It's an enjoyable film. There are some little problems here and there with this film because every problem has films, or every film has problems,
And vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nah. It's worth watching on Tubi.
Okay.
Not saying anything bad about it. Just it's worth watching on Tubi if you can't find the Blu-ray or
All
the
right.
DVD.
Well, considering I think mine was like one of the last things I ever bought from Hastings.
No.
I miss Hastings.
Yes.
Anyway, let's continue on talking about this film after the bumper so we can get to spoiling this thing.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams, Ashley Cronin Bitter.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture-infused devotional, their podcast Com Talk, another podcast where they talk about bad movies called Bottom Shelf, and another podcast where they read books, allegedly. And there are written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com. This show is a part of Pop Americana. For more great shows like this one, please check the link in the episode description. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. All right, getting into what's going on in our chat. Mike Adams has been trying to talk to us in our Facebook chat.
Quite a
We've
bit.
not been able to comment on because we were in the middle of the show. One thing he said was just seeing the Garfield statue / phone. Thoughts on Garfield and Nickelodeon Brawl? I haven't played Nickelodeon Brawl, so I really have no opinion. But I will be saying if he's not being voiced by the actor who voiced him in the original Garfield cartoon from the 90s, I don't care. Because I don't really like Frank Welker's version. That's just my opinion.
Got it.
And then Mike Adams says, I can imagine baby Piggy karate punching Nanny in the for not getting a cookie. I didn't want to repeat everything there. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in there.
I got you.
Nothing too serious. You ready to get into the full?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, D-Look, can you give me a mark? Thank you. Brenda Shinder Bindi did a Muppet movie. Did it? It's for the fee. If you don't want to be spurred, then turn it off new.
Perfect.
You're not going to ask for a translation?
Yes, translation.
Oh, it's just the following is a spoiler-filled review for the Muppets Take Manhattan. Listener discretion is advised.
Brr.
Brenda Shindy Rindy. Brenda flip 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 flip. Bork bork bork. I don't know how I learned how to do Swedish Chef, but it's
pretty good.
yes. The Muppets Take Manhattan was written and directed by Frank Oz, who also directed Little Shop of Horrors, the one
Yes.
with Rick Moranis in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was also written by Tom Paget and Jay Tarsus. Cast for this one includes, of course, Jim Henson as Kermit the Frog, Rolf, Dr. Teef, Waldorf, Swedish Chef, Ernie, Granny, Horse and Carriage Rider, Link Hogthrob, The Newsman. And oh, by the way, this first couple, I pulled from the same location of their stuff,
Really?
of what else they did, because I bet you didn't know that the Muppets were on Saturday Night Live for a time. Regular cast members of Saturday Night Live for a time.
Really?
Only in its first season, back when it was still just called Saturday Night because
Okay.
of some legal issues.
Right.
And it was just a segment where they just kind of did the same kind of skit, but they changed, or same setting of a skit
Yeah.
called The Land of Gorch.
Really?
Yeah, it was a kind of aliens on a strange planet, and on that one, Jim Henson played King Plubus.
Huh.
But it's only in season 1, and apparently the SNL writers, since they were the ones who had to write it because of the way the stuff came back and forth,
right.
and the SNL writers hated the concept of this little segment, it didn't go very far. And the writing was not that great, but technically those were Muppets, and they were in the Muppet movie because they had to pull every Muppet they could for that last shot. Frank Oz, who I mentioned directed this, also is the voice of Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Animal, Bert, Cookie Monster, Ocean Breeze Soap Board member, and Sam the Eagle, and he was the mighty Favog in that those Land of Gorge segments. Jerry Nelson.
Whoa, wait a minute. Okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
Oh,
Be
yeah,
like-
he's also Yoda.
Yeah. Just saying. Be like, you're missing Yoda of all characters. Just saying. All right, continue.
Yes, Yoda. Jerry Nelson was the voice of Camilla, New Zealand, Floyd, Bear, Chicken, Crazy Harry, Dog, Dr. Julius Strangepork, Granny, Penguin, and Pops. And in those Land of Gorge segments, he was Scred.
Scred?
Scred.
Okay.
Character's name.
Oh, yeah, one of the rats.
Yeah, no. Not on the Land of Gorge segments. He was just called Scred.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought there was a rat in this movie called
No.
Scred. Never mind.
Richard Hunt was the voice of Scooter, Statler, Janice, Beaker, and Dog. And this is the last of these Land of Gorge ones. He played a character named Weiss, which was apparently a pothead, or the equivalent thereof. And the disappointing son of the king.
Okay.
But anyway, David Goles voiced Gonzo, Chester the Rat, Bill the Frog, Zoot, Beauregard, Jim the Dog, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, and a penguin. And on the television show Dinosaurs, he played the father, Earl Sinclair. Steve Whitmire was the voice of Rizzo the Rat, Gil the Frog, Baby Kermit, Chicken, and a college student in the audience. And he was Ernie in Sesame Street. He replaced Jim Henson as Ernie after Jim Henson passed
Oh, okay.
on that on Sesame Street. Juliana Donald played Jenny, and in the Lupin the Third Castle of Cagliostro streamlined dub, not the dub we watched, but the one
Really?
where they called Lupin Wolf.
Yeah.
She played the waitress in that. That's in
Really?
that restaurant.
Okay, yeah.
It was literally her first role. This was her second role.
Wow.
Lonnie Prince was Ronnie Crawford, and he played a character named Neil Kellerman in Dirty Dancing.
Hmm.
Louis Zorich was the voice of Pete, the owner of the restaurant.
Right.
You know, People's is People's.
Mm-hmm.
Rats is People's. Rats in the kitchen. I don't know. I don't know the whole thing. He played Bert Butchman in the television show Mad About You. And Art Carney was the voice of Bernard Crawford, you know, the father
Yeah.
of Ronnie. But his most famous role was on the show The Honeymooners.
Okay.
He was Ed Norton, the best friend, the Barney Rubble of that show.
Okay.
Then we get into the cameos, which I didn't actually go into what they
Right.
acted in outside of this. But anyway,
Yes.
James Coco played Mr. Skeffington, who was the owner of Mr. Schnookums. Dabney Coleman was Martin Price / Murray Plotsky.
Oh my gosh, I love that scene.
Gregory Hines played the roller skater.
That's who that was.
Linda Lavin played Kermit's doctor. Joan Rivers was the perfume saleswoman.
Yes.
Elliot Gould was the cop in Pete's.
Mm-hmm.
Liza Minnelli as herself,
Yes.
which is a funny scene.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke Shields as a customer in Pete's.
I was like, what?
Francis Berger as Leonard Weinsop's receptionist.
True.
the Honorable Ed Koch as the mayor of New York from 1978 to 1989. They got him while he was still mayor.
Wow.
That's how he's credited in there, as the Honorable Edward Koch.
Wow.
John Landis played Leonard Winesop Jr.
Okay.
And Vincent Sardi Jr. played himself, the owner of of Sardi's restaurant.
Really?
The actual owner of the restaurant played himself in this movie.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Kingdom Hearts connections.
There are actually connections?
There is a connection. You know what the problem here is?
What?
I wrote down that the guy who's the connection was a train conductor in this and was additional voices in Kingdom Hearts 3, but I didn't write down the guy's name. Hang on.
Womp, womp,
What?
womp.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Jacob is going to see live how I get Kingdom Hearts connections, because I can tell you exactly. I know which one of the Kingdom Hearts games he was in. First, you search for collaboration search on Google, which brings you to the only one that's on IMDb. And then you type in The Muppets Take Manhattan from 1984. Then down here, I'm going to put Kingdom Hearts 3 because that's the one that this is from. It's not from all the others. And it's the only guy on here. John Eric Bentley.
John Eric Bentley. Okay. Has he been? What has he been in?
He's one of these that's like in a bunch of different things. He's got 215 acting credits.
Wow. And he's primarily a voice actor.
Yeah. He's done some other things, but he's primarily a voice actor.
Okay.
He's like in every anime out there.
Wow.
It looks like. But anyway.
And video game, apparently.
Yeah. Dealet, bring me back, please. John Eric Bentley is our Kingdom Hearts connection for this week. He was the train conductor in this movie. And in Kingdom Hearts 3, he is additional voices.
Oh, okay.
What do we got in info and stuff?
All right. If my news will roll past. All right. Info and stuff. On IMDb, it has a 6.8 out of 10. You're able to watch it on Tubi, which is free, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Production was by Henson Associates. Distribution was by TriStar Pictures, which I believe was later bought out by Sony.
TriStar and Columbia, I think, were already a combined company at this point, or two sides of the same movie studio, basically. And then Sony bought them. I don't know at what point. I can look that up while you're going through stuff. If you want.
All right. So the movie was released on July 13th, 1984. So going in the box office. It doesn't give me, I could not find the estimated budget for this film. So we don't have any of that to go on. All right. So its opening weekend for the United States and Canada was $4.4 million on July 15th, 1984. Its U.S. gross was $25.5 million, and its worldwide was the same. So going into home video.
Sony bought Columbia and TriStar Pictures at the same time in 1989. So 5 years after this movie.
Okay. So that explains a lot. All right. So home video, unlike previous Henson films, the Muppet movie, the Great Muppet Caper, and the Dark Crystal. I think this is some of what Drew had stated earlier, but we're going to say it again. The Muppets Take Manhattan originally released for TriStar Pictures and not produced by ITC Films, mainly because ITC was suffering from extreme financial difficulties at the time.
They were dying.
They were dying, apparently. And unlike the previous film, the distribution rights for the Muppets Take Manhattan did revert to the Jim Henson Company in 1998, but it did not revert to the Walt Disney Company in 2004. Due to this, it is one of the three Muppet films, along with Muppets from Space and the direct-to-video feature Muppets are Kermit's Swamp Years.
That's right.
Yeah. These home video distribution rights are still controlled by Sony Pictures and not by Walt Disney Studios.
I forgot about the straight to DVD Kermit Swamp Years. It's kind of a meh movie.
Kind of a mid movie. Okay.
It's not bad, but it's just like there's a reason it's straight to video.
Well, we'll eventually get around to it.
Yeah, eventually.
All right. The Muppets Take Manhattan was first released on VHS and the now defunct CET video disc format.
The capacitance disc, the CED.
Compassionate disc.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've
never heard of this.
I only know of it because I watched some YouTube stuff that Technology Connections did. And he was doing like this full, like he was going through like these major video formats that were released by different companies and going through like the full history of them. And he got to CED, which is like what happens if you try to make a laser disc out of vinyl, basically.
Okay.
But it uses like some kind of magnetic capacitance is somehow involved with it. And it was one of those things where had RCA gotten their heads out of their butts and got it done finished 10 years before they did, it actually would have beat out Laserdisc.
Really?
And was a better product than Laserdisc, but Laserdisc was already on its way out when the capacitance disc came out.
Really? That's interesting. That's an interesting bit of trivia.
Go watch those videos that he did. They were very interesting.
Okay. This was formatted by CBS Fox Video in 1985, which was reissued in 1991, followed by the release from Columbia TriStar Home Video and Jim Henson Home Entertainment on June 1st, 1999. The 1999 VHS contains a slightly edited cut of the previous version, possibly derived from the TV broadcast version. Cuts include remove an audio from the TriStar logo, the scenes of the scene of animals shouting "man bad" to Mr. Price, removing the word oh my G, oh my God in one scene, and the scenes where Miss Piggy is hitting with Miss Piggy hitting the purse snatcher, which is probably one of my favorite scenes ever.
Yes.
Thankfully, it got put back in. The DVD version was released on June 5th, 1991, with the cuts from the 1998 from the 1999 VHS restored. In a Blu-ray edition, which is the one that Drew has, was released on August 18th, 2011, and contains all the bonus features from the DVD. Okay, here's something interesting.
But not the teaser trailer.
Which
I had to look on YouTube to find.
Really?
It's interesting because the entire teaser trailer is like newly shot stuff, and Kermit and Miss Piggy only like show up for like the last 3 seconds.
Really?
Of the trailer. It's pretty funny.
Huh. So here, be like, I know you are a mad Muppet fan. You love.
I grew
Muppet.
up on the Muppets.
Yeah,
they're my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a way, which is ironic considering Jim Henson did the physical versions of the TMNT movie. But anyway,
that is true. We will eventually get around to those movies
one day. Yes,
one day. All right. So, did you know there was actually supposed to be a sequel?
There was supposed to be a sequel TV series.
Yes,
my understanding.
Yes,
it died.
Yeah, it died apparently
because Disney does not know what to do with the Muppets.
Apparently. That's what I keep hearing over and over and over again.
They keep trying new things. They don't let stuff go long enough to really make or the problem is everyone just wants them to make the Muppet Show again. And they won't make it. They keep trying all these other things and trying to make it like talk shows, or there was the ABC show that was essentially The Office but with Muppets.
Yeah.
Which has actually got good in the last half, but the first half was just not that good at all. And there's actually some funny stuff in there, but it, whatever reason. But yeah, this was like one of their other shots, and it got canceled before it even really got known very well.
I gotcha. All right, so on February 2019, it was announced that Once Upon a Time showrunner Edward Kissis, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, and we're working with actor Josh Gad from Frozen on a TV series titled Muppets Live Another Day, set after the film's events on Disney Plus. The series was focused on the Muppets, who disband sometime after the film's events, reuniting with after Rolf disappears. However, on September 19th, this isn't that much further out.
Yeah.
It was announced that the series had been scrapped due to creative differences following the executive change at the Muppet Studios.
Plus, you also have the small issue that it's being based on a movie that Disney can't control when it's
True.
ever going to get released.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and it's not like Sony is going out of their way to put this movie out there where you can find it, because it's just barely on Tubi.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
All right. So that is all I have for info and stuff.
All right. Getting into the summary. The Muppets have graduated from Danhurst College and entertain their fellow graduates with their theatrical production of Manhattan Melodies, which is their senior variety show. Upon the suggestion of taking the show to Broadway, the Muppets proceed with the idea, certain they will become stars instantly. Arriving in Manhattan, the group meet producer Martin Price, played by Dabney Coleman, but the police arrive and reveal he is a wanted con artist named Murray Plotsky. Plotsky tries to flee, taking down Gonzo and Camilla hostage, but is taken down by an enraged animal and is arrested, leaving the Muppets hopes dashed. They try other theatrical producers to no avail, leading to their morale and finances taking a nosedive, which is amazing considering they were paying 25 cents to live in lockers.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking they are becoming a burden to Kermit the Frog, when he snaps at them, the rest of the Muppets agree to go their separate ways for new occupations, though Miss Piggy secretly remains in Manhattan to keep an eye on Kermit.
She's a spy.
Though disappointed by the development, Kermit vows to make the show a hit and enlists the assistance of diner owner Pete, played by Louis Zorch, his daughter Jenny, played by Juliana Donald, who is an aspiring fashion designer, and the diner's staff of rats led by Rizzo. Attempting to promote the show, Kermit first poses as an eccentric producer, bragging about the musical's quality, but the producer he meets, John Landis, discards the script after Kermit makes his exit. Kermit then poses as a famous playwright, having the rats insert a caricature picture at Sardi's restaurant by replacing Lisa Minnelli's picture with it. When Minnelli comes in and notices it missing, she asks Vincent Sardi if she did something wrong to get it removed. When the rats are exposed, Sardi discovers Lisa's picture near Kermit. This causes Kermit and the rats to get thrown out of the restaurant. Kermit learns from the others that Scooter got a job as a house manager at a movie theater in Cleveland, Ohio, where he finds the Swedish chef as the popcorn server and Lou Zealand as a dedicated viewer of the 3D movie. No, Lou Zealand is producing the actual practical effects for this 3D movie by throwing the fish at the audience, which was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
Fozzie Bear joins some other bears in hibernating within the forests of Maine, where he has had a hard time sleeping. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem have a gig in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, performing in a retirement home, which looks like a polka festival to me, but whatever. And the Great Gonzo and Camilla the Chicken are trying to make a successful water skiing act in Michigan, which is also a very funny scene.
That is.
Rolf the dog, however, is working at a dog kennel in Delaware. While in Central Park, Jenny confronts Kermit about his losses, while an envious Miss Piggy watches. When a thief steals her purse, Miss Piggy borrows a pair of roller skates, quote unquote, borrows a pair of roller skates, and furiously chases the punk down, but reunites with Kermit in the process, and they make up. Piggy takes a job at Pete's Diner. Kermit then receives a letter from a producer, Bernard Crawford, played by Art Carney, who is interested in the musical. However, the letter was actually written by his son, Ronnie Crawford, played by Lonnie Price, who is struggling to prove himself as a producer and believes that Manhattan Melodies is good. Bernard himself is hesitant, but agrees to fund the show. A thrilled Kermit heads back to the diner, but is so distracted that he walks into oncoming traffic and is struck by a passing car. Bong! The rest of the Muppets are summoned back to New York, only to discover that Kermit has disappeared. At the hospital, Kermit's doctor discovers that he has lost memory of his life. He makes his way to Madison Avenue, where he meets a trio of frogs, Bill, Gil, and Jill, who work in advertising, and offer him a job when he comes up with the slogan. He takes the job and begins going by Phil. The rest of the Muppets search for Kermit, with Gonzo at one point trying to persuade Mayor Edward I. Koch, however you say his name, to assist Bill, Gil, Jill, and Phil end up visiting Pete's Diner, where Kermit's friends recognize him when he plays the show's opening number with spoons and glasses of water. At the Biltmore Theater on opening night, the Muppets try to help Kermit remember. When Kermit laughs at the idea of being in love with Miss Piggy, she karate chops him, restoring his memory. As the Muppets are about to get in place for the show's opening number, the Muppets ask Kermit if their new friends can watch from backstage. Kermit, realizing the show needs more Muppets, suggests that the Madison Avenue frogs, the dogs, the bears, the chickens, and other become extras in the show. The show ends up being a success, culminating in what was intended to be a staged wedding between Kermit and Miss Piggy's characters, only for a real minister instead of Gonzo, as originally intended, to appear with all the Muppets, including the largest set of cameos from Sesame Street to ever be in the last time the Sesame Street Muppets ever got to be in a Muppet thing. As the show comes to its end. Getting into the trivia, as I mentioned earlier in the trivia question, this is the first appearance of the Muppet Babies characters, whose cartoon premiered 2 months after this film's release. In an interview, Juliana Donald, who played Jenny, recalled how filming of the jogging scene in the park was temporarily delayed by a camera problem. In wide-eyed amazement, a little boy passing by approached and started talking to Kermit, oblivious to Jim Henson operating him. Despite the surrounding commotion of technicians trying to fix the camera issue, Jim started interacting with the boy. Moments later, Jim found himself doing an impromptu performance with Kermit for an entire group of children who had gathered around to watch. Juliana said, "It was so memorable to me because time just stopped. It was a wonderful, magical moment where you experience someone's true joy with their work."
Mm-hmm.
The portrait of Kermit in the producer's disguise has become a permanent fixture at the Real Sardi's and can be seen in other movies set there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The kennel at which Rolf is working has several dogs in labeled cages. 2 of the cages say Jim and Frank in honor of Jim Henson and Frank Oz.
Mm-hmm.
After several less than satisfying takes of the scene between Joan Rivers and Miss Piggy, Frank Oz sent a stagehand to get him and Rivers 2 gin and tonics apiece. The 2 chatted and imbibed their drinks before filming one more take, which is what appears in the final film. That explains so much. This is the first Muppet movie in which the fourth wall is never broken. I will be talking about this more often when we get to my likes, but this is complete and utter bull. But anyway, this is the film debut of Gates McFadden, credited in this movie as Cheryl McFadden, playing Mr. Price's secretary. McFadden worked with Jim Henson as a choreographer and puppeteer on The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, but is best known as playing Dr. Beverly Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Ah, okay.
If you were wondering where you'd seen the secretary before.
Yes, I thought I recognized her from somewhere.
Mm-hmm. She also played a secretary in The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, okay.
Played Jim Ryan's secretary at the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
why she's missing from the second season of Star Trek The Next Generation, because she thought the role was going to be bigger, and it wasn't.
Wow.
Anyway, the scene where Kermit the Frog graduates from college was filmed at Vassar College in New York. Director Frank Oz wanted it shot in front of the most academic-looking building on the campus, the dining hall. As with the Muppet movie, this can be read as an allegory of Jim Henson's career. Like his creator, Kermit gains local popularity performing during his college years, decides to try his luck in New York City, struggles, takes an unlikely detour into the world of advertising, then gets his big break.
Makes sense.
And if you want to see what Jim Henson's unlikely detour into the world of advertising looks like, go look up the Wilkins commercials, Wilkins coffee commercials.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
Those are funny.
You showed them before.
Yeah.
They were interesting.
The soundtrack is the only theatrical Muppet movie soundtrack to have never been released on CD. However, 3 songs from the film, specifically Together Again, I'm Always Gonna Love You, and He'll Make Me Happy, were released on the Muppets Music Collection, Music, Mayhem, and More. And if you currently go to YouTube a lot of times and see commercials for Verbo, VRBO, you'll hear Together, not Together Again.
I know what you're referring to. I can't.
It's the song. It's the opening number. Now you're here. Now we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right where I belong. That's
Right
the name of the song. I had to sing it part of it. Because I'm right where I belong. Okay, moving on. Rizzo the Rat appeared throughout the final season of The Muppet Show in 1976, and along with Scooter and as the Happiness Hotel Bellhops in The Great Muppet Caper in 1981, But this is his first major role with the Muppets and his first appearance with his more wise guy personality.
Oh, okay.
Approximately 175 people as extras and a handful that were puppeteers performed during the wedding finale sequence.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd sequence took 1 day to film.
Really?
Yeah. The wedding finale features many of Kermit's Sesame Street friends, although only Bert, Ernie, and Cookie Monster have speaking roles. This was the last such cinema-released crossover. Instead of being traditional hand puppets, the tiny rats are controlled with rods to operate their heads and mouths. The scene of Miss Piggy singing Saying Goodbye with Kermit was filmed at the Lackawanna Rail Terminal in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Waka waka.
The train Piggy is on is an electric train that was designed and built by Thomas Edison.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
One of the rats is introduced as Tatooey, thus making him not only Tatooey the rat, but also Rat Tatooey, which is a play on the word ratatouille, which is the name of a traditional French disc, and let's be honest, a very popular Disney Pixar film.
Ratatouille.
Yeah. Baby Rolf can be seen operating on a plush Big Bird toy during the Muppet Babies dream sequence, which appears to be the Big Bird talking plush toy made in 1980 by Child Guidance. This was also, and this is the sad one to go out on here, the last Muppet film to have Kermit the Frog be played by Jim Henson before Steve Whitmire took on the role theatrically since the Muppet Christmas Carol in the wake of Jim Henson's death in 1990.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen this movie a bunch of times. I can talk about it a lot. I want to hear your thoughts first on what your first like is for this movie.
My first like was it's very early in the film, and I'm watching like, oh my gosh, this is hysterical. Okay, so Martin Price being attacked by animals. Oh my gosh.
Bad man.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. I was like, what in the, because Martin Price did such an amazing job because he's got animal,
the actor playing him,
or the actor playing him, Darby Coleman.
Yeah,
Darby Coleman. I'm sorry, Darby Coleman, the actor.
Dabney Coleman.
Dabney?
Dabney.
Yeah, Dabney Coleman. Because I recognize this actor from like a lot of places.
Yeah. That's the thing about this movie is that a lot of the cameos, you either know exactly who they are or you've seen them in everything, but have never heard their name.
Yeah, exactly. So this would be like it's the setup the scene. It's more Dabney
Coleman.
Call him
Martin.
Yeah, Martin. Martin is the quote unquote
the con
artist producer who's like, oh, we just need $200 for each one of you, a piece from you, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the cops bust in and be like, he grabs Gonzo. Of course, he grabs Gonzo and by the nose, of course, which is hysterical. And then he gets attacked by Muppets. I'm like, oh my gosh. And he plays it flawlessly.
Yes.
Like he's actually being attacked by these Muppets and they're all reacting to just like, they're all just being dragged by him the entire time. And it's absolutely hysterical. And I want to call him Monster, but his name is Animal.
It's Animal.
Animal is just it's like Batman. It's actually hysterical. I am laughing so hard. And yeah. So yes, that was absolutely hysterical. So yeah, that's my number one. Animal getting to attack the character. Yes, that's my number one.
All right. My first like for this is that the song Saying Goodbye is legitimately a sad song that's in the middle of this film.
Yeah, agreed.
And it's like the last real musical number until you get to the Muppet Baby song that I can't remember the name of. And then that's the last one until like the end of the film. But it's a sad song about, it's like our way, it's what we all had to go through when school was done, is that everyone went their separate ways, and it's good for this to happen, but it's like it's hard to say. And you get all these characters like going, getting on trains, riding bikes away, all of them leaving Kermit And it's like, this is legitimately almost heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's not the most heartbreaking moment in the Muppets
Right.
movies, but it's like, this is a legitimately heartbreaking moment I was not expecting to get in the middle of this film. But yet they have to leave in order for, the rest of the film to actually take place. So, yeah. And a lot of the other songs in this are good too, but really it's Saying Goodbye is one of the ones that always sticks in my head.
I got you.
It's like, this is the song that didn't need to happen in many ways, but it sticks with me.
Yeah.
Because the moment of them leaving had to happen, but the fact that we get this nice song of them saying, yeah, we've got to say goodbye. We got to move on.
I completely agree.
Not gone the way we wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
This is almost the end of the Muppets song.
Yeah. Agreed.
Before and even though this is not really about the formation of the Muppets, but
Yeah.
it's that kind of thought process.
Yeah. Obviously, because this movie is about, these characters and the whole bit, because you get this great, sending off that they have to go their own ways to try to make a living because they know they can't do it anymore. And obviously in the back of your mind, they're going to come back together. You know this, but it's just that be like taking away the cynicism. Thank you. Taking away the cynicism of it from being a reviewer. And it's just like, wow, this is a really touching scene.
Yeah.
It's very well done. And a lot of the effects they did are very well done. Definitely when one of the characters rides off on a bike.
Yeah. Well, it was the same tech they did in the last film.
Yeah, but it's still very well done.
Very well done.
Very well done. And it's touching. It's like you said, it's kind of heartbreaking in a way.
Yeah.
And it's Kermit sticking to his guns and going to the top of the Empire State Building, be like, I'm not leaving New York.
Yeah.
And it was very fitting to, I think this is the end of the first act, I think.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty end of the first act. And it was good. It was a very well done, very well executed. And there again, touching, very touching song to have these characters send off. Even obviously, they're going to come back together.
Right.
But it's good. It's a very well done scene. So yes, very much agreed. So going into my second, I found myself actually just loving scenes in this movie.
Yes.
It's not.
There's a lot of great scenes that thankfully all work together.
As
a story.
They do. So my scene is Miss Piggy on rollerblades. So the fact that
it's a great chase scene.
It is a great chase scene. So Miss Piggy has been stalking Kermit all over the place and getting madder and madder because him and Ginny are becoming friends.
And that's all it is friends.
Just friends. You know how hard that is to explain to people?
I know. I know. It's like they're just friends. This is why this is not a love triangle thing. I mentioned to Francisco Sunday we were reviewing this movie. He says, oh yeah, I didn't like that movie because the love triangle. So there's not a love triangle. Because it's
an assumed triangle.
Love triangle means that Kermit as the focal point, because he would be the focal point if this was one, has to have romantic feelings for both Jenny and Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
He has no romantic feelings for Jenny. They're just friends. Now, granted, if things went the other way and he never saw Miss Piggy again, maybe that would change. But at the moment, that's not where it's going.
And being someone who has been in those kind of situations before, trying to explain, be like, hey, we're just friends. That's all what's going on.
Right.
But
friends.
Yes, believe me. Yes, I've been in situations like that. Those are interesting. So it's Miss Piggy. She's already furious and she gets purse snatched.
And you get another one of these great moments where some poor soul is having to be a body double. Has to wear a Miss Piggy suit while rollerblading through Central Park.
And it's very well done. It'd be like it's
done well. And there's a great shot where she's angry that I think I posted on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like
so great.
Which was like, does this make the Muppets kaiju? Apparently not, from what that conversation went. But anyway.
But it's just like the overall tone of the scene. It's like, be like, you have a very mad Miss Piggy, and she's like missing her purse.
Yes.
And be like, you understand like the point she has in her life. She doesn't really have a whole lot, but she's trying to get her frog back. And this guy has snatched, and like, man, this guy can run fast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then this whoever did the stunt work for Miss Piggy doing this rollerblade stuff did some really good work. And I was just like, I was impressed by this because I could think it was like a smaller person, or maybe it was just like forced perspective in which they were shooting it. But this was done very well. It'd be like, and the point, like every time you saw Miss Piggy up close, it was this furious pig look, and it was hysterical. And the point where the thief, like, goes through here and here, and he thinks he's finally lost her, and he's hiding, he's pulling stuff out, and here comes Piggy over the side of the cliff, just like just piggy rage. It's absolutely hysterical. She barrel tackles him, and it's just a great scene. And then you get the scene of Piggy and Kermit reuniting, and it's just a very well done scene. It's hysterical. It's funny, and I just really enjoy it. So yeah, that's my second. What's yours?
Okay, before that, I do want to point out that I just looked up who the Miss Piggy stunt doubles were.
Right.
There were 3.
Okay.
In for that sequence, but it doesn't specify. Cheryl Blackman, Denise Lucadamo, and Krista Tomasulo were Miss Piggy. At least one of those was at least Miss Piggy through some parts of the scenes.
Oh, okay.
All 3 at different points.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, what are we on, number 2? Mine second one is the Jobs, all the other Muppets.
Oh gosh! Oh my gosh! Yes.
You get Rolf's.
Rolf.
Like the dog running the dog pound. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
And then I'm also, but Rolf, we all want to get out. We all want to go home.
And then he starts howling along with them.
And then while he's holding Mr. Schnookums, who was just dropped off, who apparently likes the rubber Wall Street Journal better than the rubber Washington Post. It's like, of course he does. He's from New York.
Of course.
And then you get Scooter at the running the movie theater, or passing out 3D glasses at a movie theater. That was a great scene. The Electric Mayhem doing the post office, and the polka party, the polka festival, and poor Fozzie Bear getting sexually harassed in a cave.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
It's like, because at that point there, it's like, how do they do it? How do they all get to sleep so much? And then the bear next to him wakes up and says, "Oh," and it's obviously a female. Says, "Oh, are you having a hard time going to sleep too? Here, why don't we cuddle?" And Foz just going, like, I don't know what to do. But all of that pales in comparison.
Oh my gosh.
To Gonzo and his water acrobatics show with the chickens, who are not singing the song Gonzo said they were singing, by the way, because they were singing the William Tell Overture. But that poor guy who was driving the boat, who's like, doesn't want to be there, and he doesn't even follow the course as everything goes to pot.
Of course, it's Gonzo.
The whole that's Gonzo. That's how all of Gonzo's stunts go.
Yeah, of course, they go terribly wrong. They
go completely and terribly wrong. That's the gag. So yeah, all of those sequences. I would even say Miss Piggy and Joan Rivers trying to sell perfume.
Oh, understanding the full context, what's going on behind the scenes was absolutely hysterical.
It makes more sense as to why it went that way.
It does.
Because it's like, it just went stupid for like 5 seconds. Like, of course it went stupid. They were drunk.
They were a little tipsy.
Just a little tipsy. Yeah, all of those are my second like. What's your third?
My second like is there again, another scene. Third like. My third like is another scene. And it just fits so perfectly. So Kermit has lost his memory. He has amnesia. And he's in the diner. And he is confronted by the entire gang. And he doesn't remember who he was. And he's what's his name again?
Phil.
Phil. His name is Phil, and he
With Bill and Gil and Jill.
It's so be like the gang is trying to
And they sell Ocean Breeze soap. It gets you clean. You mean just say what the product does? Has anyone ever tried that before?
Oh my gosh. So be like they're trying to jog poor Kermit's memory. He has no memory of it. And what was
I know what you're about to describe. Go ahead.
so be like he's so be like Miss Piggy's like, look at me. Be like, I love you, Bill. Da, 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 da. And he starts parading her. It's like
and saying everything any human watching this has ever thought. It's like, why would a frog and a pig fall in love?
Exactly.
The
And I was like, oh my gosh, someone's
The
gonna get hit.
The only thing we don't get is the bouncing baby figs. And I don't remember what Muppet thing that is from. It's a lie. It's like it's always stuck in me. It's like what would their children be?
Yeah.
Bouncing baby figs.
But it's absolutely hysterical. Like you said, the fact that they like it's every thought you've ever thought of ever watching Muppets anything. It's like a pig and a frog getting together. You know,
Sounds ridiculous.
sounds ridiculous, but it's just the
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
it's the funniest thing where he is literally just letting all of our thoughts come out onto the screen, and it's absolutely hysterical. And Piggy slaps him.
So the bouncing baby figs is from an early episode of the Muppet Show, episode 104, which is who was in that? Who's the guest in that one? The Ruth Buzzy episode.
Yeah.
In that, a robotic Kermit impersonator tells Miss Piggy, "Let me take you away from all of this. A marriage made in heaven, a frog and a pig. We can have bouncing baby figs."
But overall, that scene is absolutely like it's really well done. It's a very well done. So like all of these scenes in the movie is very well done. Like if you didn't have such a confident director as in
Frank Oz.
Frank Oz, thank you very much. Like just every scene kind of just glues together, and you have this culmination of like the gang getting back together, and you have the wish fulfillment of all the audience members thinking out loud through Kermit, and then he gets pounded by Piggy,
Yes,
and that's what jogs his memory.
of course.
I was like, oh, I don't know. Be like, I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's absolutely hysterical.
Mhm.
But I am sitting there like I'm slack jawed. I'm like, when is he gonna get hit? When is he gonna get?
It's coming?
What's
It's like,
coming?
at some point, Piggy's gonna have about all she can take of this.
And
Because
he goes flying.
It'll either be out of anger or out of sadness of a broken heart, which is kind of both. And the fact that it jogs his memory, it's like,
Yes.
oh, everything's fine now because that really wasn't Kermit
Yeah.
in many ways.
Well,
But-
it was Kermit, but it was Kermit
It was Kermit, but it wasn't the Kermit that had spent 5 years on the Muppet Show and
Mhm.
2 movies working with her.
right.
Even though this is not well, more on that here in the next minute.
Yeah.
When I get to my third like.
All right. So that's my third like.
Oh,
So
then I'll
what's
jump
yours?
into my third like.
Go
My
for it.
third like is actually bouncing off of something I mentioned in the trivia that I called complete bull.
Okay.
And that was that this movie never breaks the fourth wall and is the first Muppet movie to do so.
Okay.
Here's the thing. If we consider Muppets in general as a single franchise,
Okay.
it's all based off the Muppet Show.
Yes.
The Muppet Show was about this group of performers, the Muppets, that performed a variety show in this theater every week.
Yeah.
Which means anytime you saw the characters, they were in character.
Yeah.
Whether they were, you saw them backstage, of course.
Mhm.
But I mean, anytime they were seen by the audience, they were in character, even if that character was essentially them, but, distilled into simple things.
Mhm.
Fozzie Bear being an unfunny bear, Miss Piggy being the diva, that
Mhm.
sort of thing.
Right.
If we are to assume that these are movies made by the Muppets in the
Mhm.
same way that each episode of the Muppet Show was a performance performed by the Muppets,
Mhm.
that means that the Muppet movie is a movie that was made by Muppets. Great Muppet Caper was a movie made by Muppets. If you're
Okay.
following my thought process here.
Yes.
Muppets Take Manhattan is a movie made by Muppets. All the thought processes go through that mind. You can see this in the Muppet movie because throughout most of that movie, we are watching a movie that is at the same time being, the way the story works, being watched by the Muppets at their first screening of the film.
Mm-hmm.
That is the whole context of that film.
Yeah.
The Great Muppet Caper, they mentioned many times during their quote-unquote fourth wall breaks that they're making a movie. Like somehow a cut that wasn't supposed to get in there made it into the film
Right.
accidentally. This film really doesn't have one of those spots, but if it's following the same logic the others are, which why wouldn't it be?
Mm-hmm.
Then this is a film about the Muppets making a movie about a group of performers making it big on Broadway.
Okay.
Which means even the Kermit and the Miss Piggy we see throughout the episode, the movie is not the Kermit and Miss Piggy, the actors that we see backstage on the Muppet Show.
Okay.
You follow my logic here?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Fast forward to Manhattan Melodies.
Okay.
Before they go out on stage, when Kermit just gets his, I'm kind of bouncing off of where you
Yes.
left off. They're about to head out for the stage to sing the opening number, and Kermit decides, we need to bring on more dogs and chickens and frogs and cats, and I didn't say cats, but
Oh my.
more whatever's on the stage. We need more of these Muppets on the stage, and they go into this big whole song and dance number. They go through 3 songs like fairly quickly, including the opening number, somebody's getting married, and then She'll Make Me Happy.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is about She'll Make Me Happy is most of She'll Make Me Happy isn't actually, we're not seeing from the point of view of the musical. Before we go into that song, the camera has shifted into the church. And from that point on, I personally don't think we're at the musical anymore.
Okay.
I think we're like maybe 2 or 3 months later on, where the characters that Kermit and Miss Piggy have been playing throughout the movie,
Okay.
those characters are getting married, but the idea is that the actors weren't getting married. Except the last point where they're up at the altar and the minister comes out and it's not being played by Gonzo. And I really think this is the way my brain works.
Okay.
That when Kermit turns to Miss Piggy and says, "Piggy, I thought Gonzo was playing the minister," they meant that the movie Gonzo, the actual actor Gonzo, is supposed to be playing the minister, not the character Gonzo.
Okay.
That follow?
Yeah, I think so.
And in that moment, Miss Piggy, after 5 seasons of a television show and 3 movies, finally tricked Kermit the Frog into marrying her on screen.
Sneaky, sneaky pig.
She'd do it too. But here's the other interesting thing.
Okay.
Hey, that does mean the fourth wall was broken, because the characters, while not speaking to us about
Speaking
Gonzo,
to each other.
they spoke to each other outside of the context of the movie, which is breaking the fourth wall.
Okay. I see your logic.
Yes. But here's the interesting thing. If you're following all of this as one franchise, and we're just happen to see these different movies the Muppets make, before this movie, throughout the TV show and the other 2 movies, the relationship between Kermit and Piggy has been the same will they, won't they kind of love relationship you see in other things like Cheers between Sam and Diane, other things like that. After this, you go to Muppet Christmas Carol. They're married in that. Now they're playing Bob Cratchit and his wife.
Right.
But interesting, they have kids in that, which is also interesting. But interesting how we're in assumed marriage after that movie.
Right.
And then the next one where Kermit is playing I don't remember the names of the characters in Treasure Island, but Kermit is playing the captain of the ship from Treasure Island.
Right.
And Miss Piggy is like the reclusive love interest he used to have that got left on the island somehow. I don't remember the exact story. And it's not a will they, won't they. It's they have and they've separated to some degree.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
In other words, the moment the marriage happens in Muppets Take Manhattan, the relationship changed and it stayed changed all the way up through even the Muppets and the Muppets Most Wanted.
Really?
Yes. And through all the other little things you see on there. Yeah, there's not a lot of points where Kermit and Miss Piggy get a chance. Even
Right.
in, even better, the ABC Muppet Show,
Okay.
the one that's the Office kind of ripoff.
Yeah.
The big selling point of that, they actually released, I'm not kidding here, a press release announcing that Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog were breaking up.
I remember that.
It was a big enough deal. It's like the marriage that happened in the Muppets Take Manhattan is over. And they've gone their separate ways, yet Kermit is still producing her show.
You have really thought this through.
I've thought too much about it, but
Apparently.
it's the weird thing. It's like they never broke this, as Nathan from the Monster on Film Vault says, they never broke the kayfabe. It is the same. They kept with like the moment this marriage happened, it happened, and the characters were married at that point.
Wow. Okay.
Of the actors who were playing the characters.
Wow.
And if you don't believe me about it, it's always actors playing it's always the Muppets playing characters.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is look at the opening credits of Muppet Christmas Carol, because after it says Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge, what is the very next credit?
Kermit the
Frog as Bob Cratchit.
Cratchit.
Miss Piggy as whatever Bob Cratchit's wife's
Okay,
name
yes.
is. I don't remember. Gonzo the Great as Charles Dickens, and Rizzo the Rat as himself. They literally play into that the whole time.
Wow.
And I need to see Muppet Treasure Island because it's been years since I've seen it. You've seen it since I've seen it.
Wow.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they played into that there also. And it's just really interesting how they kept with that.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if all the little minor Muppet things that is interspersed in between there, like the Muppets Go to Walt Disney World and a couple of the other little things.
Yeah.
We will have to do the Muppets Go to Walt Disney World at some point because it's weird.
Okay.
But it's interesting. It's like,
Okay.
So yeah, my third like, just so it's everyone's clear, Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy finally get married.
Okay. Awesome.
Also, as a little bit of interesting trivia, during the wedding scene where you've got all the pigs on the bride side,
Mm-hmm.
sitting next to each other are Link Hogthrob and Dr. Julius Strangepork, her co-stars on the Pigs in Space segments in the Muppet Show.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
They're in tuxedos, not their spacesuits, but you can tell who they are.
Wow.
And the only memorable face on Kermit's side is Robin, Nephew Robin. But
Oh, okay.
anyway,
All right.
so
So
many of those other frogs show up in like other things, such as the Muppets Go to Walt Disney World.
Oh,
later
okay.
on,
Gotcha.
as Kermit's family.
Interesting.
I know too much.
Apparently. Which is always a good thing when it comes to this stuff.
Yes.
So I want to make one side note. It's kind of a bonus, but side note.
Mhm.
Like, so like towards the end, they're about to leave for the theater, and they pull this.
Bill, Gil, and Jill just go along with it.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's one of the cameos, which I was not expecting.
Uh-huh.
Brooke Shields. I was like,
Why
what?
not? Why not? She was a big actor. at
She
the
was a
time.
big actress at the time. I was like,
and
whoa, that's Brooke
this
Shields.
was at a point in time where the Muppets were the thing to cameo on. If they wanted you to be there, you went out of your way.
Oh
In
yeah.
fact, they even said that they had planned a cameo for Dustin Hoffman as one
Really?
of the producers, but unfortunately, he could not get that to work into his schedule.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just really cool because be like, it's really interesting because when I saw that, I was like, whoa, that's Brooke Shields. Be like, I recognize a lot of these other characters. I didn't know who they were. I just recognized them.
Yeah.
Brooke Shields and like two others, like I knew who they were. And I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting.
Mhm.
I was a little kind of like,
That's the great thing about Muppet movies is you have no shortage of cameos
that is true.
because they always have to bring in the special guest stars, just like on the Muppet Show.
Show. Gotcha. All right. So
If I could work the Muppet Show into a TAS thing where it wouldn't just be us talking about random skits,
Mhm.
I would do it. But unfortunately, because of the way what the Muppet Show is,
Mhm.
there really is not much ongoing stories. So
Right. Well, we could do a special at some point, maybe in between series, that we could probably do. I don't know, the Star Wars one.
The Mark Hamill episode is one we probably should do because holy crap, that episode was prophesying. Heavily prophesying. It's like if you didn't know any better, it was planned. But anyway,
Oh my gosh! So let's get into our dislikes.
dislikes. Yeah, what's your first dislike?
My first dislike. Now, granted, this is not a slight against the film,
Granted,
and this is
I'm wondering if we have the same dislike on one thing.
maybe. So a lot of films do this, and then it automatically dates itself.
Yes.
So you throw in like current events, what's going on, and
Mhm.
you play that into the movie, and then it automatically dates the film.
Yes.
So mine is with the Muppets films in general is the great use of cameos.
Mm-hmm.
They're great. It just dates the film immediately.
Yeah.
Like if you're watching it from a 2021 from a film that was made in 1987,
Yeah.
be like it automatically dates it. Be like, now granted, you can tell it's a dated film, but automatically be like you have to scratch your head. It's like I recognize this actor, but I don't know who he is. Be like Brooke Shields or
Yeah.
I know Brooke Shields because Brooke Shields
Or
was
Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers.
When she wasn't made completely out of plastic.
Yeah, she looked human.
Yeah.
I recognized her. I recognized what was her in the not the other diner.
Oh, Lisa Minnelli.
Yeah, Lisa Minnelli. I recognized her. Everybody else was like, "Who? What are these people?" Because it was more be like if it's one of those films that if you watched it in 1987 when it came out, it's like,
84.
oh yeah,
84.
okay, it came out in 84. Yeah, that's right. Came out in 84. For some reason, I keep thinking 87. But for some reason, watching this film, I kept thinking I was halfway expecting because I saw a character come up from the sewers. I was halfway expecting a Ninja Turtle.
It could have been.
It could have been, but
We're not far from the creation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
the movie. But it's like if you're watching it during the time period, it's like, oh yeah, I know exactly who these people are. It's like blah, 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 blah. Now, granted, 30, 35, nearly 40 years later, it's like, who are these people? Now, granted, if you are a person from that age,
Yeah.
be like, yeah, you're gonna know exactly who they are.
Well,
Or someone like me, it's like,
but-
I recognize them, but I don't know who they are.
But it also depends on what they're doing. If it's like, I look back at stuff like, say, in the Muppet movie when you
Mhm.
have Mel Brooks of all people
oh yeah,
playing the role of the German scientist who's
Yes.
going to
yeah.
fry the little frog brains.
brains?
I will remember that without even caring that it's Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
I only know now it's Mel Brooks because I looked it up and I was curious. It's like, oh, that is Mel Brooks playing a stereotypical German scientist, and I bet he's playing him like he's a Nazi because Mel Brooks is Jewish and likes making fun of Nazis. And then you got Steve Martin in that one. But in this one, I mean, admittedly, most of the cameos, and I agree with you with this part,
Mhm.
most of the cameos fall flat. And
They do.
as funny jokes in the sides, most of them have nothing outside of they're here and they said their 2 or 3 lines and
Yeah.
then they left.
Yeah.
The only one I think really stands out, in my opinion, is
Yeah.
Joan Rivers
Yeah.
because she was drunk.
That is so true.
She and Miss Piggy were drunk in a store, which is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
And don't get me wrong, even the skater who's I don't you said you recognize the actor when you saw him.
Yeah.
I don't. Unfortunately, he's got a memorable part there because it's like he's the one that Miss Piggy stole the skates from, and he comes up and is trying to get the skates
He's
off
back.
her, and she says, "You gave Jenny the Huggies. You gave Jenny the Huggies,
Huggies?
dude." Oh yeah, I forgot about you. You gave Jenny the Huggies because he's like on Kermit's side for a quick second. It's like the whole bit with him is hilarious.
It is hilarious.
But at the same time, I have no idea who he is. So it's like
Yeah.
when those cameos fit,
Mhm.
they're great. When they don't fit,
Yeah, exactly.
and that will be a similar problem that's going to run into you're going to run into with any Muppet movie that has tons of cameos.
exactly.
Admittedly, great Muppet Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island, since they don't have any cameos outside of the big name actors that got to play major roles.
Right.
We don't have that problem with them, but you get to the Muppets, you're going to have like Jim Parsons playing a character.
Mhm.
In 10 years, who's going to know who Jim Parsons is?
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah,
Nothing against Jim Parsons.
Right.
And for those who don't know, Jim Parsons is Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
But honestly, a couple years, you go back and watch the Muppets, you're going to look at that and go, who's that guy?
Yeah. Unless you're like a big fan of,
Of The Big Bang
Bang Theory.
And which, maybe so, but at the same time, it's like, it's funny when you see it, especially considering the context.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this movie, most of the cameos aren't even well acted.
No, they're not.
For the most case. Except I would say the best one actually is Art Carney, because I didn't realize that was Art Carney.
Okay.
Because honestly, I just thought that was an actor they hired to play this one role. I didn't think of it as a cameo, but it's a cameo technically, because he only has 5 lines throughout the whole movie.
Right.
So yeah. So I agree with you there.
Okay. Yeah. So that's my first dislike.
My first dislike is the Muppet Babies.
Really?
I hate that scene.
Oh, really?
Seriously, I watched Muppet Babies growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I have pleasant memories of Muppet Babies growing up, but I will tell you this right now, they are annoying.
Indeed.
There's some funny bits in there, don't get me wrong. But I can't watch. Unlike the Muppet Show, where I probably could watch like 5 or 6 episodes in a row and not care.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. Or I could watch maybe 2 or 3 of these movies back to back. Muppet Babies, I'm looking at one episode and then I may not touch it for a month because the voice acting is a little on the annoying side.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, and that's the reason for that. Now, I will say, I appreciate that the Muppet Babies show replicates the look not only of the nursery, but of all the costumes in the movie, almost scarily accurate for the TV show, even though Skeeter wasn't in the movie.
Right.
But, and I think it's actually a lot of that. And while the song there is kind of, catchy, most of, I appreciate how well the puppetry is done in that section. I just don't like it because of all the Muppet things out there, Muppet Babies is the thing I like the least.
Got it.
And this is the most annoying part of it is it's in this movie and it's just like front and center. And you've got a good 3-4 minutes of this song, of which it's repeated halfway through.
Yeah. Agreed.
So it's like, and I've never been a big fan of the Miss Piggy songs in general.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. That's
the
fair.
Miss Piggy, the Muppet Babies part of this film is one of the things I don't like.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be like kind of bouncing off your number one. Be like now understanding where Muppet Babies came from. They'll be like, yes, it's a very annoying scene. But like, but contextually, it makes sense.
Yeah, in the context of the movie, it makes sense. It's just like most Miss Piggy stuff, it's annoying.
It is annoying. It is completely annoying. So here's my second dislike is where the whole bit of the group going to New York to get their Broadway get their show on Broadway, become famous, what have you. And so they break up, and like we don't know how much time has passed between the time they broke up and they come back together.
Yeah,
like there's no indefinite time.
The only time scale we have is that Kermit was missing for 2 weeks because they had 2 weeks to get the show made after that meeting.
Right, which is absurd.
Yeah,
which
especially all of the sets they built for that.
Yeah,
there's no way that was a reuse from everything, especially since half the props during that middle song are puppets themselves.
Yeah, and being somebody like you worked on plays before. I worked on my senior year project, and like that took months to create.
Bear in mind when you're talking about professional theatrical work, you aren't talking about 2 hours a day after school.
That is true.
You're talking about 8-hour days, and a lot of that, even though it's different for each thing,
right?
It's a lot more business-like than what a high school.
Oh yeah, I completely agree.
That's where and to some degree, I will actually agree with you here. That is where it falls apart because we're going from a college production to full Broadway musical.
Yeah,
That's two entirely different beasts.
Exactly.
That's like a cat, a house cat, and a lion
Mhm.
in terms of difference. Same family, sure, different beasts altogether.
Exactly. So, like, mine kind of goes deeper with it. It's like, okay, you have these characters, they break up for an unknown period of time.
Mhm.
We don't know how long they've been missing or been apart.
Yep.
And then you have this be like they get on stage and they instantly know everything that's going on. Be like they know all their cues and everything like that. Be like,
Well, here's the thing. We know probably at the very least everyone but Kermit has been on stage for a week
yeah.
practicing. Believe it or not, after a week of practicing, you probably would know your cues.
Oh yeah,
You might mess up from time to time, granted, but you probably know when you're supposed to be on this part of the stage, when you're supposed to be on that part of the stage.
Yeah, I completely agree with
that. Most of them did that in college as their senior variety show.
Right.
So as someone who actually had to perform the same play on multiple different stages, which does constitute sometimes slight rearranging of things and changing things up.
Right.
It's still possible that they remembered everything and only had to make minor changes
That
to
makes
account
sense.
for the Biltmore stage.
Yeah. That makes sense. But
at the same time, 2 weeks is very quick to produce that many sets.
Yeah, agreed. It'd be like
Fast
that's
as they were going.
yeah, it is a little absurd. It's a little absurd, and definitely the dramatic difference between, like you said, with a college performance and then a Broadway performance performed, and this show gets sold out
somehow
in
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Good night. You barely had time to advertise.
Yeah, exactly. And like the father's the man, it's 2 weeks, but it's like 2 months or whatever.
Probably it's 2 weeks because there was an opening at that theater.
Probably
for that 2 week segment.
Probably
in that 2 weeks, and the next play wasn't going to be there for maybe another month, and so they needed something there, and that was like, oh well, we got this thing popping in. That's my rationalization.
That makes sense.
But at the same time, man, is that a quick turnaround?
That is a very quick turnaround. So, and there again, be like, I wish they would have done more like scenes where you had the rest of the crew, they were practicing something, but like maybe they weren't as energetic.
All we got was a montage.
Yeah, all we got was a montage. That was it. So there was no real be like you see them be like they're making the costumes and stuff like that, but you don't see them performing like they've been doing this.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, from more artistic standpoint, they really haven't been rehearsing.
Well, and you also have to remember that this is a throwback to like the older style of some movies, like say White Christmas.
Okay.
Where you have these big theatrical performances and they literally had a month to learn them.
That is true. It is Hollywood after all.
Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to look at this and go, it's like, yeah, I can believe they figured this out in a week.
Yeah.
You're supposed to accept it and move on. It's because it's a throwback to that sort of thing.
Yeah, agreed.
It's not meant to be accurate to how long it would actually taken to get all this ironed out.
Oh, completely agree with that. Yeah, it's be like it's very much a nitpick. And yeah, that's my number 2. What's yours?
My number 2, I mentioned this kind of earlier. This movie depicts New York City.
Oh, yeah.
The way New York City has always been depicted. Kind of a little bit of a garbage can in many ways. Not the actual word I want to use here, but we are a PG show.
Yes.
For the most part.
Right.
And the thing is, this is showing it at its most fairy tale-esque because that's kind of how the Muppets work.
Okay.
They always kind of show stuff in its best light, and we still get scenes where, even though almost every time it's Miss Piggy reacting to the not quite love triangle things going on between Jenny and Kermit.
Yes.
But she's like banging on stuff and making all these moves, and it's like, oh look. And it's like, oh gee, what's that sound? Oh, it's New York. It's New York. It's like, this is what happens in New York? Because from this distance, Miss Piggy hitting that pipe against that light pole or whatever it was she was hitting it against does sound like gunshots.
It does.
And I think that's intentional.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's New York. Of course there's gunshots. Of course there's gunshots.
And even the next
and then you get the part where they're in the apartment where Miss Piggy's watching at the
And all
diner,
yeah.
it says, "Oh, gee, that a lot of that's been happening at that apartment lately."
Oh,
Oh,
it's New York.
Um,
Call somebody.
shouldn't you be thinking that might be domestic violence? Shouldn't you at least go by and see what the crap's going on up there?
Yeah.
Wellness check?
Yeah. a little bit.
Maybe
Just a little bit.
something to that effect. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like all this is like you get the glitz and the glamour of Broadway,
Mm-hmm.
but then you get all the dirt of New York in it at the same time because it's all part of the same package. Now, granted, that whole part there where Miss Piggy's trying to watch Kermit and Jenny, and the construction workers start catcalling her.
Yes.
And they just keep going and going until Miss Piggy bends that pipe in two and then starts banging on the thing. And then the guys just back up and walk away. It's like, don't get involved in this. That is funny.
That was funny.
But the rest, a lot of the other stuff, when you start thinking about what it's actually saying about New York,
Mm-hmm.
why would anyone want to ever go there? Just to see Broadway musicals. Also, this has got to be one of the only movies that takes place in New York where I didn't see the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I don't think I would say
That is weird.
I never saw the Twin Towers either.
No, that's because before the Twin Towers weren't built yet.
They were built in the 70s.
I'll have to double check. But yeah, the Twin Towers are not in this film for whatever reason.
Yeah, weird.
I don't remember why, but it's not because they were edited out. They were not in the original film.
Yeah, that's just weird.
So
yeah.
Anyway,
So was it everything?
yeah,
All right.
that's the end of my second line.
Okay. So
Dislike.
my third dislike is kind of an oddball, but it's the scene in which they have finished their college performance
Mhm.
of their senior play or whatever.
Variety show.
Senior variety show. And it's a scene in which could never be replicated in our modern day times.
Okay.
Could never would fly ever again.
Is the animal chasing the woman out
Yes!
the cafeteria?
Woman!
Well, the funny part is that Kermit's giving his speech. It's like, yeah, we're all thankful to be graduating. Some of us with honors. And then animals chasing the woman out of the cafeteria going, woman! Sticks his head back in, woman! And Kermit goes, and some with daily psychiatric help.
Believe me, the scene
It's
is
a great joke.
The joke is good. It is
It would
very,
get you written up faster than anything else nowadays.
or get you canceled.
Yeah.
Which will be like, we don't promote people like harassing people at
we-
all.
We don't, but good night. This was Animal at the time.
This was Animal in the 1980s.
This was the joke. Animal saw something he liked, he went after it.
But yeah, it's be like I remember seeing that scene. It's like, this would not fly in today's culture. But it's funny to watch. Not recommending it, not endorsing it,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's funny because it's set in the 1980s and it's the character of Animal.
Yes.
So yeah, that's just more. Yeah, we're never going to see that kind of scene ever again.
I'm trying to remember if in the Muppets or Muppets Most Wanted what Animal does in that one, but I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen those movies, even though I liked them. But anyway, we'll continue.
All right.
I don't have a third dislike.
Really?
I've thought about it. I tried. This is still just a fun movie, and so anything more than what I've said
Mhm.
that I could think of as a dislike, I can easily rationalize away. It's like that's just part of the charm of the film.
Right.
There's nothing here I can honestly say I don't like it, other than what I've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Maybe if anything, I might say the film
Yeah.
transfer on this one, because it really desperately needs a cleanup.
Agreed.
It's not just that we see film grain through this. I'm fine with film grain.
Yeah.
It's like the print looks dirty in a lot of spots. I don't even know how much of that you can actually clean up, but it doesn't look like the print has been cared for. So
Agreed.
the transfer to Blu-ray has a bit of a grungy look to it,
Agreed.
which is disappointing. But yeah, that may be the closest thing I have to a third dislike.
Alrighty.
Which brings us to the end of the film, which means we need to rate the thing.
Yeah.
What are you rating it?
I'm rating it 8. Be like, it's a good movie. Like there again, be like we do. There are some little nitpicks here and there, but overall, it's a very well done. Frank Oz does an amazing job with this.
Oh yeah,
And,
you can definitely tell this is a Frank Oz directed film.
Yeah, I think the last time I watched a Frank Oz directed film was The Little Shop of Horrors, which was
Mhm.
probably when I was a kid back in the 80s, like the 90s. But it's like this was a very well done movie. It stays true to the core of what the Muppets are. And it's just a very well done movie. There are some things that are like, okay, this be like maybe this could never be replicated nowadays, or like other little things here and there. But overall, it's a very enjoyable film that people should go watch on Tubi.
All right,
So, what's yours?
I'm giving it an 8.5.
Okay,
I love the Muppets. It takes a lot to not at least find something fun in one of these Muppet movies to
Right.
enjoy. Yeah, as we will start getting later and later into it, when Disney starts taking over, they do start kind of getting this. It's hard to say kids movie feel when, in all honesty, all these movies are technically
Mhm.
kids movies,
right.
but at least all of these classic ones, and I would say even Great Muppet, Muppet Christmas Carol. I keep
Right.
wanting to call that Great Muppet Caper for some reason. It's a different movie.
Yes.
I think they have a bit of an adult bent to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess and it's been so long since I've seen Muppet Treasure Island, I don't remember how that one handles it, but I remember it being a little kiddie.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it mentions death and the black spot, but this is literally like the end of an era. In many ways, this is the end of the original Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is, because it's 10 years until the next Muppet movie. By then, Jim Henson has passed, and all of his characters have had to been passed off to different players,
Mm-hmm.
mostly Steve Whitmire, who is now no longer the voice of Kermit the Frog. He's been passed on to somebody else because Steve Whitmire made somebody mad at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the exact reasoning behind all that, but this is pretty much like, if you were to consider like the original Muppet show,
Right.
and its movies as one thing, this is like the final episode.
Okay.
This is the Avengers Endgame of the original Muppet run.
Okay.
It's really kind of how I think of it. And so this, as a send-off, and especially ending at and finally answering the will they won't they question between
Right.
Kermit and Piggy,
Mm-hmm.
I highly appreciate it, and it's enjoyable, and yeah, it's all good.
Awesome.
Which brings us to the end of this movie, which
Mm.
means we need to announce our next movie and ask the trivia question for it. Jacob, what is our next movie?
Wonder Park.
Wonder Park, yes. And the trivia question for this one is, what credit that is in every other movie in existence not in Wonder Park that nearly got them in trouble with one of the unions?
Ooh, that's interesting. We'll find out next week.
Indeed. Besides that, we now need to jump into some Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure stuff.
And the masters of the universe. Let's get dangerous.
Building a rocket or fighting a mummy, climbing up the Eiffel Tower.
The Pinky and the Brain.
Right now, a part of me wants to go back into that file and edit in Muppet Babies into that. Just not a lot, just the Muppet Babies.
Do it. That'd be awesome.
but not right now.
Yeah, not right now.
Anyway, we are
Of course,
talking.
we're in the middle of the episode.
Yes, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure. I've lost which episode numbers we're on, but we are
Episode
we're
12.
season 2. Is it 12?
12.
Probably 11. I'm guessing because we're on odd numbers.
Hold on.
Because that first episode of Outside the Corner Walls messes it up because a lot of places quote it as one episode instead of two. Why aren't I just looking at Disney Plus?
I don't know.
That would be faster. Yeah, Rapunzel and the Great Tree is the next episode. 13.
Okay.
We're on episode 13.
Okay.
Double
All right.
checking. Yeah, 13. Curses.
Okay, 13. Curses.
So we are reviewing season 2.
Curses!
Season 2, episode 13.
Yes.
Curses. I think I made this joke last time too.
You did.
I'm going like all Mojo Jojo. Curses.
There's no such thing as curses.
Or is there? Okay. This episode was directed by Stephen Sandoval and written by Kelly Hannon. Synopsis is Rapunzel meets again with Madame Con Artist and Vigor the Visionary.
Oh gosh.
Boy,
yeah.
how this is matched up with the movie. We already had a con artist tonight.
True.
Vigo issues a curse on Rapunzel shortly before she and her friends cross a dangerous mountain pass. Guest cast for this includes Carol Kane as Madame Con Artist and D. Bradley Baker as Vigor. Similar to Vigor the Visionary, Vigor stares at Eugene weirdly again at the end of the episode
Mm-hmm.
for almost no good reason in this one.
Mm-hmm.
The episode is based around the placebo effect. Because when Rapunzel thought bad luck would happen to her, they do,
Yeah.
and Eugene's lucky moose tooth causes it not to be bad luck.
True.
That's the trivia for this. What are your thoughts on this episode?
My thoughts on this episode, it's like these two episodes are very much travel episodes.
Oh yeah,
Be like we're trying to get from
because that's the thing we
point
talked
A
about.
to point B.
This is the thing we talked about a couple weeks ago. It's like season 2 has got these episodes where we're at a location for a
Mhm.
number of episodes,
Yeah.
and then we have a couple travel ones until we're stuck at another location for a number of episodes.
Yeah.
We're in the travel part.
Yeah, we're in
But-
travel mode.
Interestingly, even the next big episode that's technically an hour long
Yeah.
is also technically a travel episode, even though there's a
Technically.
big moment in the middle of it.
Yeah, quite a few big moments actually.
Really big moment.
Yeah, huge. So going back to the episode and what we're reviewing now is they are trying to get across this enormous gorge, which is like almost impossible to get across.
That is the thing. We see this crossing,
Yeah.
and the only way to get across it are these pillars with rocks that are balanced on top of them precariously.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that pops in my mind is, this is not a well-traveled road.
No, it's not.
Because I mean, Max should not be happy with as much trouble as he went to for them to rebuild the RV up to Corona's transportation code,
Oh my gosh.
which
yeah,
we heard
Max.
about last episode.
Yes.
It's like, how does he feel about this road? It's like, you're going to have to jump
Pretty much.
all the way across.
Right.
Or you could just do like Vigor and Con Artist did and just go through the valley, but whatever. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, that kind of comes into play later, but
Stupid Con Artist.
stupid monkey.
Stupid monkey. That's a production company. But anyway,
But it's an enjoyable episode. It's more Rapunzel feels like she is being cursed and being the very
Curses.
being the very adventurous character that she is that she's one of these characters that be like she gives anything a chance. She'll
Mhm.
do anything once within reason.
Yeah.
And
Well, she already did this once. That's the problem.
that is true. She did do this
now
one.
she's
doing
well, she didn't ask for a vision. She just went to get her telescope back.
Yeah.
which, I'm sorry. I get that the telescope was important to her.
Mhm.
The minute it fell off completely accidentally, it's
Yeah.
nobody's fault that she
Yeah.
lost the thing. That should have been it's like, well, We're never getting that back because here's the thing: it fell off a cliff.
Mhm.
If it's down there and still somehow in one piece, the lenses are going to be broke all to heck.
Yeah,
They'll be shattered, and the thing's going to be completely unusable. You might as well leave it.
that is true. But also, it was a gift from her father.
Yes, and maybe if she got down there, got it, brought it back up, she would not be able to find a place to get it fixed.
Maybe.
Granted, but a part of me is still thinking you just lost it, and you're not ever going to get it back because the chance. If Vigor and Con Artist were not down there,
Mhm.
they never would have found that thing.
Probably not.
In reality,
Yeah, it's a good setup to bring those characters into the show,
Yeah.
into the episode.
and based on accidental research that pops up when you're doing research on characters
yeah,
for this, I know that they come back, that they are playing an
Mhm.
important part in the season.
Uh huh.
But at the same time, I'm still looking at it and going, if they weren't there, Rapunzel, you couldn't keep going.
That is true.
Not with your telescope, anyway.
That is true. Be like, yeah, it's one of those more that do you believe in curses? Do you not believe in curses?
yeah.
Be like, do you believe that? Be like, if you do something, you're
Curses.
Yes. It'd be like, are you doomed forever to be, to the so-called curse is going to follow you around? And Eugene, his entire be like, there's just curses. It's just happens circumstances. It happens.
Mhm.
And the fact to be like towards the end of the show, end of the episode, he is like almost believing now in curses, or at least something akin to curses in a way, or
Yeah.
good luck at least. When he grabs the horseshoe, that's just down there for no reason.
Well, he's got to pick that up for Max and
Penelope.
Vanellope. I couldn't
Yeah.
think of the girl
Yeah,
horse's name.
yeah, Vanellope.
Because literally she has done nothing but be Max's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And not even that much of that. She's just been the other horse pulling the carriage.
That is true.
It really does feel like, unfortunately, that horse only exists because Max couldn't pull that thing by himself.
Yeah,
They've done nothing with her. But anyway,
that's true. But overall, I do like that we do get a little more like what is going on with Vigor. It's like, yeah, he's this weird monkey that is odd, but he has those little moments where it's just like, he's looking
there's
straight
more-
at him.
there's more going on here than we're pointing at,
Yeah.
but we don't want to tell you what it is yet.
Yeah, more than meets the monkey paw.
Yeah.
But overall, like, it's a great episode. It's giving into the fears, giving into the paranoia of a curse, or I'm being possessed, something's haunting me, or something like that, and you just threw a toy at me.
Intentionally.
Not intentionally. But you threw a figure at me, let's say that.
Guardian.
Huh?
It was a guardian.
A guardian. What, you throwing your guardian at me now for be like I can defend your
no.
keyboard?
No, that's not it. Deedle, give me a mark.
But yeah, overall it's a great episode. It does kind of show that be like a curse is simply the placebo effect, like you said
Yeah.
before. It's just like it's the idea be like if you believe something hard enough, you make yourself believe it.
Yeah.
And you fall into the traps of it. And be like you find yourself, you are consumed by it. And once you are brought out of that, you are brought out of that you're brought out of that mental state, that
Mhm.
mental state that your confidence is back. And like you said, like once Rapunzel realized, like, even though be like Eugene did trick her, that be like, oh, it's this moose tooth, which was actually
Yes.
Shorty's tooth. Which is,
Indeed.
I agree with
Edna.
Rapunzel. Ugh.
It was Edna.
Edna the tooth. Edna the tooth. Of course, he names
Important
his tooth.
character in this show.
Yeah, apparently. But it's just it's learning not to be consumed by, it's basically not consumed by fear, or like be like I believe it some such thing as curses.
Yeah.
And I really like where they kind of touch on the idea of those general points, and it's a really good episode.
Mhm.
And it leads into other things that are going to happen later in this season.
Right.
Thoughts?
I mean, I'm in a different position than you are because you've seen the whole show.
Yes.
at this point. Yeah, I've seen this episode before and like the next couple episodes,
Mhm.
but I have no idea where we're going. So I have vague ideas where we're going.
Yes.
So I honestly don't know what episodes are important in
Yeah.
reality and which ones are just filler. Now, granted, a lot of these episodes, even if they pretty much are filler episodes, they have something that moves the overall
Mhm.
plot along or helps you understand characters better.
Yeah.
So it's not like complete filler that doesn't need to exist at all.
Yeah.
But this episode, for the most part, it doesn't even really do much to make me worry about Vigor, even though it's his second episode, because outside of ooking and ocking, a couple of words that Madame Conardist,
I still love that.
yeah, that translates as this curse of bad luck.
Mhm.
I mean, the whole gist of the episode is that bad luck that he did nothing.
Mhm.
All he did was make her think that she had bad
Yeah,
luck.
got in her head.
Which means the monkey really did nothing, which doesn't make me worry about who, at least at this point, doesn't make me worry about who Vigor actually is, even though there's more to him,
Mhm.
obviously, than what they're actually showing
Mhm.
right now. The fact that a character like this has shown up this quickly in the series
Mhm.
is already worrisome, not worrisome, but already kind of telling,
Mhm.
because you think about other characters who showed up, like most characters who show up, they showed up in one episode, and then unless that episode happened to be kind of lead into the next one, we almost never see those characters again until like a whole nother season has passed.
Right.
Like Red and Angry.
Mhm.
There were almost a whole season's worth of episodes passed between Big Brothers of Corona and the first Vigor the Visionary episode.
Yeah.
We get all the stuff with Varian like every 5 or 6 episodes, but he was within walking distance of where the princess was for most of the time. Not at walking distance, but he was it made sense he could come back regularly. Right now, Rapunzel and the crew are on a trip. Now, yes, they are on apparently a little bit of a circuitous trip, since they're able to, especially in the next episode, be able to be close enough they can get Stallion back involved in things.
Yeah.
But the fact that this character showed up this quickly and doesn't have any, and has a vague story arc at best so far, especially when all it is, it's obviously all a con to some degree. At least that's how they keep presenting it.
Right.
It's really telling that there's more to Vigor and Madame Conardist than they're showing. Now, I don't know what Madame Conardist could be doing.
Yeah.
Considering I kind of accidentally found out that Vigor is connected to like the main plot directly.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. I don't know how she's connected in, but it is interesting. For the most part, the episode almost could be written off as just a standard episode where the characters learned an important lesson about life that everyone needs to learn.
Right.
But for the overall plot, this has very little to add to it other than we had this guy come back that's obviously important, but we're still not telling you who he is. So, I mean, it's not a bad episode. It's just not pushing the story as forward as I want.
True.
And that's really the problem we've run into, in my opinion, for the last really every episode since Beyond the Corona Walls is, we're following these black rocks and where they're pointing, but there's not much addition to the story overall. I mean, we had some stuff with Keeper of the Spire and then the Forest of No Return, introducing these obvious important characters, but are really getting into who these characters are and important plot areas. But for the most part, it's an okay episode. It's just not, top of the line.
Right. Totally.
There's nothing here that made me like laugh really hard. This was just like a normal episode.
Yeah.
Not bad, but not necessarily good.
Agreed.
Next episode. I assume you're ready to move on to the next episode. The next episode is The Eye of Pencosta, Directed by Joe O and Jeremy Shipp. Guest cast for this includes Yvonne Strahovski as Stallion, Curtis Armstrong as Constable Lumph, Lil Ray Howery as Virtuous St. Goodberry, Danny Trejo as the Malice Marauder,
Okay, I remember that.
and Jake the Snake Roberts as Dart Playing Thug.
Really?
Yeah. At this point, Disney was just throwing famous people into stuff, I think.
Apparently.
Because you wouldn't know that's who these people were
No.
unless you looked it up.
Yeah.
Because there's like, these are just characters. Anyway, synopsis for this one. The group arrive in the town of Pencosta, but Eugene is immediately thrown in jail for having previously stolen the town's largest diamond, the Eye of Pencosta. The sheriff declares Eugene to work in a deadly copper mines, and soon the rest of the group are thrown in jail. Rapunzel negotiates with the sheriff to find and retrieve the Eye of Pencosta in exchange for everyone's release, but must return in 2 days. Rapunzel confronts Eugene about theft, who reluctantly reveals he previously worked together with Stallion, forcing Rapunzel to seek Stallion out and persuade her to help. Rapunzel and Stallion track down the new owner, Mr. Goodberry, who agrees to hand over the eye if they participate in a wrestling match. Rapunzel agrees, but Stallion double-crosses her, having secretly stolen back the eye, and intends to use it to free Eugene and win him back for herself. Rapunzel is left to fight on her own, but Stallion returns with a change of heart after finding a letter Rapunzel previously wrote to her, encouraging her there is good in everyone. Bull.
Agreed.
Rapunzel and Stallion are declared the winners, and the two part ways, but not before Stallion reveals her acceptance to Eugene, and Rapunzel's love for each other. Rapunzel returns to Pencosta with the jewel, setting Eugene and the group free. I said bull about there being good in everyone because theologically that's not true.
Yeah. Well, people.
But I will accept it solely on the idea that relatively
Yeah.
to each other,
Yeah.
there is good in everyone.
Right.
But true goodness, different. No, we're all evil. Trivia for this episode: the tavern where Rapunzel and Stallion meet is called the Glass Slipper. Obviously, a reference to the Glass Slipper in Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on this episode?
This is more there again. It's the travel episode. We go to a town we really don't get to meet
Yeah,
at all.
we don't stay here long, thankfully.
No. And Eugene gets thrown in because of his past, his Flynn Rider days. And it's basically a episode where a part of Eugene's past comes back as in Stallion, and her and Rapunzel have to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unique. It's unique. And it's like the thing that kind of bothered me is it will take 3 days to get to this certain town to get this jewel.
Yes,
The jewel of Pencosta. And it's like, oh, all we need is go down this rapid whatever. It's a good scene. Do not get me wrong.
yeah.
But it's just like, okay, then why don't people do that normally? Just like take that really, really interesting, very convenient shortcut. And then
You mean the whitewater rafting down the river?
yeah,
I'll tell you why.
because it's dangerous.
Because the problem is not the road.
Mhm.
The road probably does follow that river pretty much.
Probably
The problem is by foot, it's going to take 3 days.
days. Agreed.
Versus, because at best they're probably walking maybe 2 or 3 miles an hour,
Right.
which limits them to 20 miles per day
Yeah.
on average, which means that town is 60 miles away.
Right.
Ish.
Yeah.
You're going to go faster on a river 60 miles
Agreed.
than you will that. Especially if you've got if you're able to row into the water, especially with the current.
Right.
The real question I have is, I'm just going to throw this out there.
Okay.
It's going to take, okay. The town of Pencosta,
Mhm.
the hamlet of Pencosta,
Yeah.
I should say,
It's a hamlet.
and the Glass Slipper
Mm-hmm.
are relatively close enough together.
Okay.
Maybe an hour or two's journey between the two, let's say.
Okay.
It's going to take 3 days by foot
Mm-hmm.
to go from the Glass Slipper to where Goodberry is.
Yeah.
Which means that by foot, it's going to take 3 days to go from where Goodberry is to Pencosta.
And it only has 2 days to do
They only have
this.
2 days to do the whole thing. Now, granted, they have horses on the return journey.
True.
But the return journey has a grand total of maybe 6 hours
Yeah.
that they have to make it. They killed those horses getting back.
Oh yeah, those poor horses are. You know,
There's
now
no way they didn't get back there without nearly killing those poor horses, because that is like almost the end of day 2 when
Yeah.
they're actually having the fight with female Danny Trejo.
Bro. That just killed me when I realized, like, that's Danny Trejo.
That's Machete
That's Machete.
fighting Rapunzel.
Which be like this is a goofy episode. The logic in it makes no sense. Definitely when
Yeah.
it comes to your time frame. And it's like, yeah, it's just like, oh, they help each other and be like, oh, Rapunzel's be like, oh, everybody's good inside in general, which is there again, Horizaki.
Yeah.
It'd be like, if you ever around people in general for less than an hour, they're like, yeah, we're not exactly great people.
And plus, you're talking about Stallion.
Yeah.
Stallion has one goal:
Yeah.
to take your man.
Yeah. Flynn Rider.
And even if she is the three-dimensional character that she kind of ends up being in this,
Mhm.
and actually realizes that, maybe there is more to, maybe they really are a better couple than me and him would ever have been,
Right.
even though she has to take the money as second prize.
Right.
It's just parts of this go too smoothly, even with the backstabbing.
Yeah,
for lack of a
agreed.
better term.
Agreed.
The episode just moves too smoothly, I think, from one end to the other. It's not that this is a bad episode. Don't get
No.
me wrong. It's actually a very fun episode to
Yeah.
watch. But it's a popcorn muncher episode.
Yeah. Agreed.
You're not meant to think about it, because if you think about it too hard, you're just gonna go, what? That doesn't work. Also, why does this guy sound like a jazz singer who's running this this WWE arena?
Too true.
And that's the bigger question. If I remember correctly, Jake the Snake
Uh-huh.
is a wrestler.
He's a former wrestler. Yes.
Why is he not the one at Goodberry's
that
arena
makes sense.
instead of Danny Trejo, who doesn't wrestle?
Yeah. He's just an actor.
He's just an actor. A very rough-looking actor who
Yes.
who started life as a stunt double, but
True.
why didn't you get the wrestler to be in the wrestling ring? That would have been, and maybe that's who they originally cast him, but he just didn't fit the character. I don't know.
Hmm.
But
The character who snarls like, rah, rah, rah.
yeah,
Which,
because there's so
Danny
much
Trejo.
acting in
yeah,
that.
it's Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo can do a lot of stuff.
That is true.
This is the kid who, this is the guy who I first met in Spy Kids.
That is
It's the first thing I ever saw the guy in.
true.
And it's like, you don't look like you should be around kids, much less the spy variety. But anyway,
yes.
it's an okay episode.
All right.
Did you finish your thoughts on it? 'Cause
Yes.
I know I kind of interrupted it.
I did.
All right. That brings us to the end of these episodes. Join us next time for Rapunzel
Rapunzel
and
and
the
the Great
Big Tree.
Yay!
The episode that is the entire reason we're doing this. That we started this. Anyway,
Episodes be like it's a two-parter.
I know we said it was like 3 or 4 episodes, and the more I think about it, it had to be the night we recorded the Tangled episode.
Yeah.
It had to have been.
Yeah.
But anyway, that you showed me the clip from this.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
So yeah, join us next week for that.
Yeah.
And of course, Wonder Park,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that's going to be about. Outside of an amusement park that I'm assuming is somehow magical.
You're not wrong.
Anyway, join us next week for that. But in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Arc. Draw Reach and his Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob and his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page Drew's Photo Bin to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at @cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Maybe we should add more special effects, like exploding socks. Waka waka. Okay, that's the end of the episode. Thank y'all guys for joining us. I am the only person, I think, in the Twitch chat, but I will go ahead and raid somebody if I see someone to raid. Book of Gaming is on, so I will raid him. It is late, though, so I don't know how long I'm going to stay over there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks like he's playing Spider-Man 2, the good movie Spider-Man game.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, thank y'all for joining us, and we will catch y'all next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
If I can click all these things correctly.
Is that who I think it is?
Yeah. It is who you think it is.
Ah.